मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
Thank you, Kedarashwari. I request all the dignitaries to occupy the front seats.
Sweet and affectionate notes have filled our hearts with positivity and good vibes. Now I request Dr. H.R. Venkatesha, Director of MBA Department, to take the opportunity to do the inaugural address. Please welcome Dr. H.R. Venkatesha.
Good morning. I wholeheartedly welcome the HR professionals of Bangalore, who is who of different companies are here. And I am really thankful to Vijay, my colleague, who is instrumental in organizing this program. New education policy extensively dwells on industry-institute interaction. For all these years, ABBS has done quite number of programs to connect with the industry. But 2022 has been bonanza. That bonanza has become possible because of the effort of our placement officer, Mr. Vijay Das. Thank you. You have done a wonderful job. I know who are all sitting here or in the helm of the affairs in respective organizations. I know how precious their time is. That too in Bangalore, traversing is a big issue, and we are in the western part of Bangalore. And I know many of them I interacted with, with whom I have interacted. They are staying in eastern Bangalore, northern Bangalore. They have taken 1.5 hours to reach our campus, and the same is the case when they go back. Why they come all the way is to share their rich experience with you, and it is their passion which drives them here. And students have to learn tips from HR professionals who have come here. And throughout the day, we are going to have a good number of talks, panel discussion, and I think all of you would have great things to take home. More than anything else, yes, we are NAC accredited, we are NBA accredited, we are IACB accredited, but whichever the accreditation organization comes to me, they ask me one thing: with which industry you have association? Are you a member of IMA? Yes, I am member of IMA. Are you a member of NHRD? Yes, we are working closely with NHRD. We are closely working with FKCCI. We are life members of these organizations. But now industry is, very, very competitive, and when it comes to recruitment of students, are delivering lectures, are organizing MDPs, or workshops, or conferences. I know that being in Bangalore, many times when I travel to tier 2 and 3 cities, they tell me one thing: sir, you are in Bangalore. It is so easy for you to bring people from the industry. I tell, yes, I am in Bangalore, but there is competition, right? Starting from IIM to ISC to Triple IT to, there are good number of institutions, and I have to compete with them. And I profusely thank each one of you for making to this program, because you matters to us, and because you are the real people who would take my students in recruitment, and who would address in my MDPs, who help us in conducting consultancies. And when I organize conferences, I want your help. When I organize seminars, I want your help. I mean, it is a win-win relationship. At the end of the day, I know just now I was speaking to the chief guest. He was telling me, yesterday I met one Acharya student, and he was talking good about Acharya. Then I feel, yes, we have done something good. And when we walk long distance, when an outsider comes and tells me, sir, I met one of your students, and he was good, and really I feel happy. But when you are bad, they won't tell on my face. But I think that opportunity will not come, right? And they are very modest, and whenever there are good things to share, they share with us. And I thank each one of you for coming to this program. Today we have an MOU signing, assignment, we have panel discussion, and lot of things are lined up for next 3-4 hours. And I wish all of you would take benefit of this, and ABBS gets enriched by associating with who is who of the Bangalore's IT space. And we had the privilege of working with NHRD, and actually for many years. And I had one great colleague called Swaminathan Murthy. We had the privilege of having who is who of the HR coming to ABBS and sharing their insightful thoughts with my colleagues and students. And it is repeating now. And after lull for 2 years during the Corona period, now great things are in place. And I wish the whole day would be very productive to the guests who have come here, and to us, to my faculty, and to all of you. And I wish the program all the success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. Now I request Dr. Madhumita Chatterjee, Director of PGDM, to address the gathering.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to ABBS. I know you have had to traverse long distances, and Bangalore with its road conditions, which we hear about, doesn't make it much easy. But the fact that all of you are here, and you were here before many of our own people could make it to the Institute, shows that you're so willing to share. And that's what we are looking forward to. And today, I'm from the HR background in the sense I teach HR and OB. And when I do that, I keep telling my students, there is an HR that has to be hidden in every manager. No manager can say, I don't want to understand HR. And so we do teach it in the first term, and all students go through that. And I tell the HR, you have to learn finance and marketing, because without that, you can't exist. So it's the whole concept of management is no more in silos. It can't remain in silos. Life is not a silo. So I think this is a great opportunity where we have people from various backgrounds who are heading HR. They started in finance or operations or marketing, and they're going into this whole profile of actually building an organization which is made up of people. And human resource, I don't like calling it resource. Being a professor, as usual, I feel they are capital, they are investments that we have to look at. And there was a phase where I remember when everybody said HR is not really needed, we understand human beings and we can run it. And then today again, HR has proved that without us, you can't really run it. Because without human beings, you can't run an organization. I can give you the best of the gadgets, the best of technology, but if the human being is not willing to work with it, how do we make it work? I know AI is there, and I have this feedback from the best AI faculty that we have, who says, AI is good, ma'am, we have done very little in it across the world, because even today, for AI to understand a cat and a dog, we have to feed millions and millions of factors into that to let it recognize what is a cat and what is a dog. But look at the little child. You tell him this is cat and this is dog, and the next day he knows what is cat and what is dog. So the human brain is something that I hope, will never be overtaken by any technology, because that is where I feel beauty resides. And HR is an area which helps to enhance that and to interact, as my colleague, Professor Venkatesh, has already mentioned. As an academic institution that is into management, we cannot really work without interaction with the industry. And I'm happy all of you are here, because I see a helping hand coming towards us. And as he mentioned, there is a lot of competition, and sometimes we do get disappointed when we approach many industries looking for research or looking for small internships or asking them to come over. And then the next thing we hear is the same research has been given to probably an IIM or an internationally branded institution. So we need your help, because I believe, we are the institutions that are building the backbone of this country. Our students are the ones who will actually take India ahead. Of course, there are the premium schools. I'm not doubting their talent. I'm not saying they're not good enough. But how many? And we are a huge country, and the country is youthful. So if we don't give an anchor to our youth, then we'll be sitting on an atom bomb. And therefore, we are very, very thankful that all of you have come, and you are giving your helping hand to us. And we look forward to this interaction becoming a very fruitful relationship. So from our end in PGDM, because it's an autonomous program, we have the flexibility in our curriculum. We have designed many courses where we can help the industry by retraining or upgrading the learning. So we have a tie-up with Virginia Tech University of US, where we are doing the data analytics course for our students, and it's open to outsiders as well. It's a 9-month course, it is online, and one becomes an alumni of Virginia Tech. So one can carry that certificate with them. So if your company has people who are interested in upgrading, we'll be more than happy to have them with us. We've also designed a program where we are offering recognized MBA program, which means a PGDM, along with the data analytics certificate at a very envious price of only 6 lakhs, with more of it being online, except that we are trying to bring in as much of the contact hours that AICT requires, and that is the flexibility we have in our system. So as an institution, we are using all the opportunities that we have got from Bangalore University, from AICT, from our connects around the world with all the international institutions. We are lucky that we are tied up with many international institutions, and we have international faculty who come down and interact with us during conferences and seminars. So this COVID, I think, has taught us a lesson that HR is very important, because as the topic says, you all are rebooting the whole concept. And we were just joking about the moonlighting and everything that we are hearing nowadays. And I think there is going to be a big challenge that HR will have to sort of look at and rethink. And we are here for that. And we will find answers, because human beings are best at surviving. We have survived many things. But I think the biggest challenge that will come with this online and virtual HR that we are talking about, or the entire industry going virtual, would be ethics. Because that is where, how do we manage it? Are we building in ethics among our students? Are we going to get a workforce that is going to be ethical, committed, and would be looking at their commitment to the organization? And so this would be an area, I think, which would bring in a lot of discussion, and we look forward to that, and I'm sure our students will learn a lot. So I thank Mr. Bijoy for leading the students to do this. You have been doing this for many of the symposiums that we have had. Thank you very much. And I welcome all of you once again. And thank you, students, for organizing such a wonderful seminar and conference and panel discussions that you people keep doing. And I must end with the praise that all of you received from the members that I met here. Everybody said we got such a warm welcome, and your students are really so nice. So thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening words. May I now request a placement head, Mr. Bijoy Das, for delivering keynote address.
Good morning, all. I was not good at 1 or 2 marks of writing answers. Why I'm saying so? Being given a very short span of time, many things to say, and I don't know how to summarize that. I'm very good in writing essays. But anyways, I'll try to keep it short. See, the whole concept of conducting this event, particularly this collaboration with HR Success Talk, this is actually a forum, HR forum, where we have tried collaborating with them for many other reasons. I'll be coming to those points. Basically, to come with, always I've been telling our students regarding the networking, which is a key element of today's era. Basically, when you are the young future leaders, going to be future leaders, how the networking will be actually a worth. I'm though not a very avid reader. When after coming into this mobile world and this e-world, I seldom find time to read books and all. But yes, sometimes I come across with some books and all. Recently, I came across a book written by Miss Nimisha Chatterjee, The Power of Connection. And yes, this book definitely will be kept in the library. And I would wish that all the students should read this one. It will talk all about the networking, the concept of networking. It says, your network is your net worth. See, basically, conducting this kind of symposiums, conducting this kind of events or HR conclaves, the main objective is to bring all the, HR people, HR leaders from the fraternity to meet you people, where their experience, you can learn from their experience, and that will be the major key takeaway. And moreover, this kind of interaction will make the HR fraternity also to learn about you, that how much industry ready you are, or where are the actually the points where actually you have to groom yourself, what are the things, and where actually you have to keep yourself up to your the skills, uplifting of your skills and all. See, basically, the networking, when I'm talking about the networking, how it happened, I had happened to meet with Miss Nimisha, who is the president of HRST Karnataka chapter. After having her involved with some industry academic activities and all, then she came up with a proposal to have a collaboration with HRST, which she was leading for the Karnataka chapter. And this particular, when I came through with, learned about this HRST, I happened to meet Mr. Govind Negi, who is the founder of HRST, that is HR Success Talk. This is actually a global HR forum having more than 15,000 HRs in this platform. So you can just imagine the kind of this collaboration will bring, what kind of, the thing that will bring to our institution, to you yourself, if you can leverage this kind of this collaboration. My main objective of this collaboration, see, there are two major objectives. When all these HRs are within this one platform, so how well you can be connected with this in a very short span of time with these HRs through LinkedIn. You have to take this leverage. You have to be very much, see, I'm very much glad to say that this particular event is actually a student-driven event. This department, though this program is has been run under the aegis of placement department, but definitely I'll say the whole of the placecom members, all of the MBA and the PGDM students have taken the great initiative to make these things this happen. And I please give a big round of applause for them. They have done a tremendous good job, and I feel, I believe the delegates and the speakers, those who have come, will also have the same thought. See, basically, the objective of having this collaboration from us is that we would be expecting the HR leaders, those who are over here, and those who could not be present over here, and those who are seeing this on live, they can come and can extend their experiences and their learnings, so that these people can be made the industry ready, so that once they complete their curriculum, when they get into the industry, they should be, from the day one, they should be worth for the company. And what the industry can expect from us is that, see, bringing you down over in this institution, you have seen the infrastructure, the kind of infrastructure that you can use in your own way. We are over here. So basically what we do have the 8 or 10 hours of, the classes being running. So you can make use of this infrastructure in your own way. Supposedly this auditorium is there. So any kind of events you would like to organize, we are there to extend those support to you. What else you can expect from us is that we have got a huge manpower, right? These students are the huge manpower. So their kind of internships, kind of, the requirements would be coming. We have got a huge alumni network. You can use them for your own self. Wherever the requirements would be coming, definitely we are going to help you out to those. We have got, as Madhumita madam has told, that we have got a customized, curriculums. Those curriculums are for the corporates. You have got the corporates where actually so many, upgrading of your own employees are there. So you can always type with the institution like us for those upgradations. So these are the kind of expectations that you can have from us. And I believe this will be a symbiotic relationship. It is a symbiotic relationship where actually we will be benefited with you and you will be benefited definitely from us. So not taking much of the time, definitely I'll just ask Madhu and Danish to take the program forward, and we'll have the panel discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you.
Thank you, Bijoy sir, for the informative keynote. Without any further delay, we would like to start our today's session of 26 HR Meet by introducing our chief guest, Mr. Govind Singh Negi, founder of HR Success Talk. Mr. Govind Singh Negi, an HR, business leader, blogger, social activist, investor with dual masters in computer applications and business administration from Symbiosis University, Pune, and having 20 plus years of rich experience in the field of talent management. He has been awarded as HR leader by the Great Place to Work, top 100 HR tech minds by World HRD Congress, best CHRO by We Matters, and top 20 Indian talented champions and L&D leader by CHRO Smithy. Currently, he is designated as head of talent Europe and India for global IT company called 3 Pillar Global, having a global presence in 8 countries like UK, US, as well as India. He is also the founder of HR social group called HR Success Talk, which has more than 15,000 members. He enjoys guiding young professionals in their growing career. He is the founder and trustee of an NGO called Amrita Devi Foundation that works for women's skill development and empowerment in Uttarakhand. Over to you, sir.
So once upon a time, there was a Swami in Old Timer where people used to go and ask for advice. And he was also known as one of the management gurus at that point in time. He used to live in a hut with a lot of gardens around him. One day in the morning, a businessman came to his garden and said, I have a problem which I want solution for. So Swami said, okay, what is your problem? He said, my problem is that I built a business with couple of good number of people, but people join me, I train them, and then they leave. Then I hire another round of people, I invest a lot of time and energy, train them, and finally they also leave. My problem is, what should I do to make sure that they stay with me for a longer period of time? So Swami took a pause and he said, would you mind taking a walk with me to my garden? So the businessman said, why not? So he said, okay, let's have a chit chat. And they both started walking in the garden. When they walked little far, they saw a person breaking stone. So Swami was stopped by that person and he said, can I ask a question to this person? So businessman said, yeah, why not? You can ask a question. So Swami said, hey, whatever the name of the person, what are you doing? He said, Swami, I am breaking stone. He said, fair enough. He looked at the businessman and businessmen were clueless that what does it mean, right? Yeah, of course he's breaking a stone. He said, okay, let's move little far in the garden. They go little far, they see another person doing the same thing, hammer and breaking the stones. So he go to that person and Swami says, can I ask a question to him? Businessman said, yeah, why not? So he said, hey, what are you doing? So the person says, Swami, I am breaking the stone so that I can earn some money to feed my family. He said, fair enough. And the businessman was like, yeah, that's correct, right? He's breaking the stone, he will get paid, he's going to feed his family. So he kind of clueless. He said, okay, let's take a little bit more walk. They see the another person doing the same stuff. What is that? Breaking the stone. And he goes and says, hey, what are you doing? That person comes back and says, Swami, I am breaking the stone so that I can make this huge speckle, and that will be the portion of the garden so that I can make this garden beautiful for my Swami. Now, all those three were doing the same job, and Swami looked at the businessman and says, did you figure out the difference? Because all of them were actually doing the same thing. But the last person was connected with the purpose why he was doing what he was doing. You might be breaking the stone, but you know why you are breaking the stone. Do you know the big picture? Do you know the purpose for which you are running? You might be doing your PGDHRM. Why you are doing your PGDHRM? Just because your neighbor said, your parents said, or you have a purpose in life to achieve. And PGDHRM is a way by which you want to do it. So Swami looked at the businessman and says, you need to connect your people with the purpose for which you have established the business. If you can connect your people with the purpose, and if they bring the passion on table, nothing can stop them to stay with you for a longer period of time. Nothing can stop to go your business from where you are to the next height. So my message to all of you is to find that purpose and passion for yourself. I know you want to do a job, you want to get a job after that. I know you might want to start a business. But as early you find purpose in your life, that's where a change will happen. The community, HR Success Talk, which you see here, was formed with a purpose. And the people who join us as a volunteer joins us because of the purpose, and they bring passion on the table. By the way, we have 150,000 members, which is 1.5 lakh. Bijoy divided it by 10, by the way. So we have 150,000 members across the globe, chapters in India, UAE, Ghana, and Saudi Arabia. And we are in talk to start more chapters. So we are growing, and we are growing very fast. The purpose for which HR Success Talk is established is to bring all the HR and business leaders together. Talk about business and industry problems which are connected with talent. As ma'am said correctly, every business leader, manager, whosoever you are, you're supposed to be a HR yourself. And that's why a lot of business leader has interest in this community. Today also, we are on the same purpose. We are going to talk about a new leadership style. What is the leadership style we're going to choose? That's the part of our purpose. We want to bring HR business leaders together to talk about the talent-related stuff and bring the best practices back to either our students or industry leaders. The reason why we have collaborated with ABBS, let me put you a double down on that. That's very important for you guys. And there's a lot which you can get out of that. You understand the power of 150,000 HR professionals across the globe? How can you leverage that? You can pretty much leverage that because we are connected with ABBS now. On a single message of Bijoy, we can open doors for internship to you, to all the HR leaders we have. We can open doors for placements to all of you. Just a single message that he wants his people to get internship and placements, we will open those doors. And it's not that we are doing a kind of a social work or charity, it's because the corporates also want students, right? Yeah. It's not that we as a corporate like, okay, we don't have anything, okay, Bijoy is sending me a message, so I'm going to do it. No, it's because corporates also want students. They are looking for great colleges and university. And right, I met a student of yours who happens to be my employee and team member working in Bangalore in IT today. He's an awesome, awesome developer. So I can vouch for the quality this college produces. So it's just a way to connect you guys with the right leaders and bring them to your campus, let them see your campus, and let's see the quality you guys have and take them for their organizations. With our global connects, we can even place you internationally. Dubai is not a big deal for us. We are highly active. If you go to our LinkedIn and Facebook page, we are highly active in UAE, especially in Dubai, and thanks to Charlotte, if you're listening us through live, all because of you. We have signed a lot of MAUs. Recently, we floated a message where we were asking for an MBA HR or PGD HR for an internship opportunity, paid internship opportunity in Dubai. We get these opportunities, and we keep sending that to you. We always give opportunities to colleges. If they want, we can invite international speakers to their college or virtually, any way they want. Great way to connect to the corporates outside India, if you want to. HR conference is one part of what we are doing today. We connect both academy and industries because it's the interest of both, not the interest of academy, it's the interest of industry as well. And there are many much things we do, so you guys can make best out of this collaboration. Many students join our community as volunteer. To run a community of 1.5 lakh members with so many things we do, we have 100 volunteers across the globe. And these volunteers are mostly head of the HR in various organizations. So even that 100 volunteer base is very strong. So if you want to be that part of that and you want to be part of the community, you want to have mentors, because the chances, I think Bijoy said the networking, the more you know people personally, high chances that you will land up in your job faster than other of your colleagues. Many are volunteers, get job faster because they interact with other people most frequently. So if you want to leverage that opportunity, you can reach out to Nimisha for our Karnataka chapter, and you can also reach out to me as long as I'm here. So that's what this community can give you. With that said, I think that's a great opportunity for you to interact with a lot of business leaders and HR community leaders here in Bangalore today on the topic we're going to talk about. But in case you want to interact with me, I'm here after this conference for a while, happy to have conversations, and pleasure being here, honestly. It's my, I think, second time in Bangalore, but longer 3 days trip to Bangalore, and I really started feeling in love with the city. And I hope that I'll come again and again for more time. Traffic might not be a big issue for me, but that's because I'm from Delhi, so we are like not that different. But yeah, I love to come to Bangalore again and again, and I wish I will come again to ABBS, maybe with some bigger agenda, maybe support I can give to you guys. And I hope, I don't know, maybe some other time, some of you might be working with me and somebody in my organization or community. But looking forward to that day when you say that that day on 5th of November we met, and today, 5th November 2025, I am working with this organization because of HRST and its connections. I hope that that day will come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gobind Singh Negi, for such a good motivational speech and for your valuable words, sir. Now I would like to call Mr. Mohammed Mohsin to run the representation of HRST.
Sure, no problem. Hi everyone, I'm very excited to be here to talk to all of you. I think a lot have been said and listened, right? So I'll not take much time. And meanwhile they're preparing for the presentation, let me tell you one thing, right? HR Success Talk is a strong community, right? Not one of the, but it's a strong global community. Right? And the kind of presence we have, the kind of people we have, the kind of networking, the kind of association we have, you can leverage it in many ways. My name is Mohammed Mohsin, and I have close to a decade years of experience into HR. Thank you. Into HR, and I am one of the proudest volunteer also, right? I joined this community 10 years back, almost 10 years. I mean, when Govind was starting this, so thank you for that. So like I've been known to Govind I think more than 15 years now, right? And when he had this vision, so I said why not? I mean, it's good because as he already told you that we are a purpose driven community. We believe in a purpose. We believe in giving back to the society. We believe in giving back to we want to do something and we want to achieve something, from the fraternity itself, right? And we have global presence, right? So India is our strong forte. Then we have presence in Ghana, we have presence in kingdoms of Saudi Arabia, Dubai. Is we are very active in Dubai, and very soon we will come up with different other countries as well, right? Let me just walk you through to the PPT, right? So the purpose is like we want to create a global platform wherein HR leaders and professionals come together and they can leverage and they can learn from each other. These are our country heads. Sorry? It's not working, but no problems. Nope. No, it's absolutely fine, sir. So these are our leaders, right, who are taking forward the initiative which we have. So if you see that most of our leaders are women, because we believe and we encourage women empowerment as well, right? Why do you want to be part of the HR Success Talk? The benefits of being HRSTN is you get networking to leverage 150 plus thousand HR professional and business leaders are there, and you can leverage the networking. And like Govind said, now we are in a position, we just give a call and the work is done. That is how powerful we have become. This is our social media presence. If you see to it, you name any of the, social media platform, you name any of the biggest social media platforms, and you will find our presence there. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp. WhatsApp, we have more than 5,000 active people connected with us. One message we share it, and it reaches out to more than 5,000 people instantly. Spotify recently started our Spotify channel as well. This helps people who believes in learning, on the go. This is our learning ecosystem. Although we are a HR community, but we are we work more like a structured company. We more like, we are a completely structured community, and this is how we, take forward our momentums. Webinar we started in 2020, right? And so far we have already done more than 38 webinars. This is our HR strengths meet. Colleges call it, HR conference. We call it HR strengths meet. And I proudly tell you that last month we celebrated our silver jubilee of the HR, conclaves. And this is our 26th HR strengths meet. These are some of the glimpses. These are some of the numbers for you. This is our HR forum, right? More than 25,000 people are active there. In case if any of the professional wants to learn something, they have any queries. The reason we created is, when we also started our career, we also, whenever we stuck at any point, we want to learn something, we want to have any kind of a format or any draft. We used to call each other, but we didn't get any help. So what we did is we decided to create a forum wherein you just raise a request. You need any forum, you want to learn something, maybe you want to learn about learning and development, you want to learn about maybe performance management. All you need is you just need a raise to request here, and someone from the member will reach out to you. This is our YouTube channel. If you want to learn while watching it, you can follow us on YouTube. These are some of the playlists which we have created. Assessment, if somebody wants to learn something and they want to get certified or certification as well, so we have the certification assessment as well. These are some of the assessments which we have done. This is our upcoming certification. Global Excellence Award, this is again one of the awards which we celebrate. We don't just do it, we celebrate these Global Excellence Award. There are more than 50 plus categories which are which we run, and every year, so most likely this year July 2022 we did an HR conference, HR Global Excellence Award, and we have got more than 50 plus nominations globally. These are some of the numbers for you. This is our glimpse of the Global Excellence Award which we did this year. These are the media coverages which we got it. Blogs, if you have your original blog, you like to write, you can share it. Our team will review it and we will post that blog. And imagine the power once you share a blog to us and we post it. So more than 150,000 plus business leaders and HR professionals reads that globally, not in India, globally. This is our Edge Talk series, wherein we talk to HR business leaders and we try and find out the problem or ongoing issues. This is our upcoming one. Elite Club. Elite Club is basically designed, it's an invite group club only, where it has been designed, to discuss any of a bigger problem. Maybe Bangalore's traffic is a bigger problem, right, for the HR professionals or leaders. So what we do is we invite people, we invite HR leaders, CXOs, CEOs, and they discuss how, this can be solved. Maybe we can start work from home, maybe we can start hybrid model. So we have a, discussion around the issues, bigger issues, and then we release a white paper as well for this. These are some of the glimpses. College collaboration, and this is one of the reasons why we are here as well, right? So, and I still remember we started this, I mean, this year only in April. When we started this, we used to reach out to colleges and placement heads and say, hey, we have started this. Would you like to collaborate with us? They used to tell us, okay, we'll get back to you. But now we have already done more than 15 plus college collaborations nationally and internationally also very soon. Now the time has changed. Now colleges reach out to us and they tell us we would love to, collaborate with you. And then we tell them, okay, let us check our, availability as well. This is one of the most powerful, like tool for us. And the reason behind this is we didn't want to stick to the corporates. We wanted to reach out to the students as well so that we can help them and we can make them more employable. Mr. Govind Singh Negi, you have already met with him. You have already listened to him, and I'm sure you will learn more from him today. These are our advisors. To run such big community, you need advisors who tell you and who guides you every time. This is our team. This is the team of volunteers in India. And if you see again, more than 64% people, volunteers are females. So in case if you wish to join, you wish to be part of us, let us know. Reach out to our any social media platform and our team will connect with you. We are a community, but still we work as a, global organization, and this is our structure. So if you're part of the HR Success Talk, you will find a space here. Volunteers, I think Mr. G.S. Negi have already told you, there are huge opportunities once you become a volunteer, and you can learn, you can leverage our network, you can be part of us. Right? In case if you wish to be a volunteer, reach out to our social media platform and our team will reach out to you and they will connect with you and they will guide you. On that note, thank you so very much and I wish you good luck to all the students. And I also want to tell you that I have never seen such excited students, the kind of enthusiasm and the kind of, they were the volunteers, but the way they were guiding, the way they were playing their role, it was really wonderful. And thank you, Bijoy, also for making this happen. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Mohsen, for such a brief introduction about HRST. This is a moment of pride and happiness that HRST and ABBS are coming together as one, which will open doors to many other opportunities for not just the students, but these great establishments too. As the objective is already explained by Mr. Bijoy Das, now I take a moment and request representative of HRST, Mr. Govind Singh Negi, and the representative of ABBS, Dr. HR Venkatesha and Mr. Bijoy Das, to come onto the stage and sign the MOU and join hands for this new journey.
Thank you, all the representatives. Thank you, all the representatives. Leadership rebooted. Leadership in the new hybrid or remote working environment is the topic for today's panel discussion, and we are extremely honored to have with us the various panel members from different industries to put across their point of view for today's topic. Now I request Madhu to give a brief introduction of our first panelist.
I request Ms. Annapurna to come onto the stage and occupy the seat. A. Annapurna, Head of HR and Admin, India, South Asia and Dubai, and Head Global Talent Acquisition FIME. Ms. Annapurna, HR Thought Leader, has done her Bachelor's in Science, in Honors in Botany and Master's in Industrial Relation, Personal Management from Baharampur University, Odisha. She has also done her Master's in Psychology at Annamalai University, Tamil Nadu, along with a Diploma in Training and Development, Counseling and Competency Mapping, respectively from reputed national and international professional bodies. She possesses more than 25 years of rich experience in HR operations, leadership, learning and development, and organization development. She is an effective communicator, keen planner, vivid learner, debater, strategist, and implementer with demonstrated abilities and interpersonal skills in devising various HR activities for accelerating business growth in organization. She has served at multi-dimensional organizations like aeronautical, infrastructure, software, sales and service. Her corporate exposure commenced with ELGI, Coimbatore, followed by HAL, Raman Boards, Manhattan Associates, etc. As a country
Nicola Verghese, Vice President HR Business Partnering, Society General Global Solution Center, is a passionate about evolving workscapes, shaping people's strategy and building and thriving workforce for the future. She comes with 18 years of rich experience through her journey of learning across all the fields of people functioning, with exposure of global teams, industries, and domains. She is a thriving HR leader whose curiosity sparks further on topics involving system minds, inclusion, and culture. Thank you, ma'am, for your presence.
Now I would request a third panelist, Vinay Trivedi, to come onto the stage and occupy the seat. Vinay Trivedi, Global Head HR, Admin and Travel Therapy. Uncertain times require unconventional approaches. Mr. Vinay Trivedi is currently working to bring the human element back in HR. He is a HR professional with 14 years of rich experience in the field in talent management, talent engagement, and talent acquisition across IT, ITES, banking, insurance, and fintech sectors. He is very much experienced in managing entire gamut of HR, for example, creating smart acquisition strategy, creating people engagement journey, managing performance, drawing up and learning journey, creating great place to work. Thank you, sir, for your presence.
Our fourth panelist is Mr. Nigel John, to come onto the stage and occupy the seat. Mr. Nigel John is currently head of talent acquisition team at Whitsimons & Browns, one of the top 25th fast-growing CPA firms in the world. He has close to a decade of experience in talent acquisition space, working with some of the best minds in the industry. He has been instrumental in building teams by creating a sense of empowerment, ownership, and diversity, while implementing processes that create the best candidate experiences and value propositions. Further, through his experiential knowledge gained over the years, he conducts guest lectures on career guiding and orientation for young job aspirants. He is an avid reader, sports enthusiast, and a fitness enthusiast. Thank you, sir, for your presence.
Now I request fifth panelist, Mr. Anand Arora, to come onto the stage and occupy the seat. Anand Arora, Assistant Vice President, Human Resource, Landmark Groups. Mr. Arora is a strong HR professional with MBA focused in Human Management and General Management from Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow. He He is an accomplished human resource management professional with 20 years of experience in varied business domains with expertise in compensation and benefits, reward strategy, performance management, payroll processing and administration, vendor and personal management. Also a professional with a demonstrated history of working in various industries such as retail, telecom, engineering, QSR and financial. He is well skilled in conducting CNB surveys and benchmarking, developing incentives and adhering to HR compliances, policies, analytics, and audit. He also has an exposure in development and implementation of HRMS. Thank you, sir, for your presence.
Now I request today's moderator, Mr. Arun Chatterjee, to come onto the stage and occupy the seat. Mr. Arun Chatterjee is a seasoned HR professional with 14 plus years of experience in diverse industry verticals, which include manufacturing, industrial technology, and staffing in leading MNCs and Indian companies. As a part of his role of business HR partner, Mr. Arun has worked very closely with businesses in managing mission-critical projects and assignments. He comes up with expertise in providing strategic propositions to business to achieve business objectives. He is very passionate about keeping himself up to the mark with changing HR trends. His areas of specialty in addition to HR business partner includes HR processing, streamlining OD, talent management, employee relationship, employee engagement, labor compliances, HR audit, learning and development. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation to moderate today's panel discussion. Over to you, sir.
First and foremost, thank you very much. I hope I am loud and clear, audible to the last. Absolutely right. So first of all, thank you for offering me this beautiful red seat. Thank you very much. First and foremost, yeah, great. So a hot seat, red hot seat. So, and absolutely the reason is because today I am sharing this dais with such renowned HR professional coming across various industries to share their perspective with such bright leaders who are going to come up today, tomorrow into the industry and shape the industry into a very different way. So thank you very much. And I thank personally all of you who took time out to be a part of this session. So as you are all aware that in last 2 years, the industry has undergone a very different shape, size, change, which nobody has ever thought about in past, right? And March 2020 is something that the entire world saw a very different way how the world is going to function for next coming years. We never knew what was the tenure of it. It could have been 5 years, somebody said 10 years. Luckily, it is just 2 years and we are out of it. We are just sitting with each other without wearing a mask. So the major impact of this whole pandemic, which was experienced, two particular functions which experienced the whole blunt of this pandemic. One was the tech side of it. I have seen people from the IT side of it, the admin guys, the people who have been managing the IT infrastructure. They were completely confused of what's happening. And the second function which was completely drowned into this whole pandemic was the HR function of it, because there had been industries which never thought of going virtual, and this pandemic forced every industry to get into a lockdown. Right? And then HR was one of the function which had no clue about what is virtual all about. We had been always the face of the organization to front of employees, and suddenly we went virtual. Right? And that is where the whole era of this hybrid leadership, hybrid work style came into picture. So earlier it was completely shut down, and then slowly we started operating into a era where we said, okay, we will work off late, on late. It was a completely state of chaos, right? And then the clarity slowly started arriving in terms of what exactly has been. And today, it's an opportunity for all of you who are there, including me, to hear out from these industry leaders in terms of what underwent that whole scenario of the hybrid, the pandemic, the course, how they dealt with it, what went right, what went wrong, what were the learnings, and what they want to propose in terms of in the new era of hybrid leadership. We talk about the hybrid. What exactly is expectation from the newcomers who are going to enter the industry in terms of leaders? What exactly is expected of them? That's what the whole agenda of this discussion. So I will keep it very simple. I will try to stitch it in terms of a phase-wise journey so that it syncs across everyone's thought process very clear. So we'll try to start off, we'll try to touch upon each and every aspect of this whole pandemic and the hybrid leadership in a phased wise, right? I will also be mindful, let me be put across very clearly, I will also be mindful that I don't want to stand between you and the lunch which is going to get served. So I will be absolutely mindful about this. I will keep timing the speakers in terms of their responses as and when we proceed further, right? So extremely important piece of it, and of course I will use this hot seat to sit and peacefully listen to this. I don't want to stand throughout this tenure. Very, very important aspect of this whole journey is the first and foremost change which happened is a shift in the culture, right? So we never thought about it, what's going to happen. We never thought. There had been situations across the globe. You would have heard about recession, you would have heard about wars, you would have heard about a political instability, but it could have been in pockets. It could have been in certain segments, certain areas, certain geographies. But this is something which happened globally. It happened globally. So this kind of scenario would have never been experienced by, I am not sure if there are any baby boomers here who would have seen a world war happening, but at least the people who I connect with, they are pretty young, so they have never seen this kind of scenarios, right? So the first and foremost thing which happened was a change in the culture, right? The first element was suddenly something changed, and that was a change in the culture. The culture change happened across all industry verticals. Of course, some came out of it, but some the impact was more, impact was less. But the initial jolt was across all the industry. There was a change in the culture. And my first question around this goes to Mr. Anandji in terms of talking about what exactly. Of course, I would certainly put a perspective before that I shift on this. So I would certainly like to hear from each and every leader, starting with Anandji. What is your perspective on this hybrid role and hybrid environment, hybrid leadership? Of course, we would certainly like to hear from the culture standpoint, what went in terms of the change in culture which happened around it.
Okay, thanks, Arun. So first of all, you know what Arun pointed out. I represent a company and I work for a company which is 100% retail, only brick and mortar. So I don't know how many of you know brick and mortar. So brick and mortar is actually the real stores where you go and shop in. So our revenue comes from brick and mortar stores. Online presence is very, very limited. And I'm talking of pre-COVID 2020, March 2020. Suddenly a company which generates a revenue of 4 to 5 crores per day in one of the formats suddenly goes out and says, government says, please shut down all the stores. 50 crores per day company is earning or revenue is coming, and government comes out, says, boss, there is a problem, please shut down your stores. That machine which was generating 50 crores suddenly goes to a rest. Now that's the business impact. Now people impact. There are 20,000 employees who are working for this company. Suddenly don't know what to do next day. Whether their earning is there, not there, what will happen, right? So that's the kind of jolt that we got into when we got into this era. And our focus towards online was very, very limited. Very, very limited. So suddenly there is a shift. There was no rule book that came along with that, hey, this period is only 2 years, don't worry. This is a rule book. Please follow these 10 steps and you will be out of it. Right? Nobody in this room or anywhere in the world got that rule book, that this is the rule book, please use these rule books and you will be through. Right? None of us got that. But suddenly we had to kind of, go through that. And the kind of culture that changed at that time and how we navigated it, it was more of the networking that helped. You know, I would call my friends back and say, boss, what is that you are doing for the employees? Because at that time, first thing that happened was, if you remember in 2020, most of the companies were worried about their profits. Everything was cut. Give the laptops at home, do whatever best you can do, and then cut the manpower, cut the salaries, cut the leaves. That was the mandate from the top management. That was wave one. Come wave two, suddenly all the companies came into other way. no cut now, help the employees. Help the employees, make sure the beds are available, make sure the oxygen cylinders reach home.
Absolutely.
Make sure that even if it is ailing parents, there are volunteers. And these volunteers are who? Not the hired one. These are the employees. And I'm talking of all the companies. I am not talking of my company per se. All the companies, suddenly a shift from cut everything to help everyone to the extent possible. There were my team members who were themselves suffering from COVID, but if you call them and say, you know what, I need a bed for this person's father because of this. Don't worry, sir, I will call someone and get the bed. Don't worry. No, what about you? No, I am able to talk. Don't worry, I will manage. That is what happened with each of the companies. That the shift. Third shift came. Now suddenly when the office is open, now the employees who were thinking of that there is too much of work, they start their working at 8 a.m. and they can't close the work till 10 p.m. Suddenly when they are called to office, they say, boss, but work from home was better.
Right.
Right? The leaders who said that work from home gives you a better productivity suddenly want to see everyone in the office. So these are the three phases in last 2.5 years that we HRs have faced. And to make sure that the culture remains, three things very simple that comes to my mind. First is one should have a very clear intention to do it as a hybrid. If there is no intention from the leader, this will fail. Second is inclusivity, which is that it is not only the people who are present on the floor or in the office, it is also making sure that people who are working remotely are given equal opportunity to contribute in the meetings or anywhere. And this is not taken against them. And third is information, making sure all channels are open for information so that people don't face a challenge in kind of connecting it back. Till that is done, the hybrid environment or culture will be very difficult. And added to that, I would say this is one of the biggest opportunity for any leader or for us as an HR to actually rewrite the culture. Because in last 2 years, all of us have seen a change so very much that, with the kind of attrition, the great resignation going in, there are 40 to 50% or more of the labor force or the people who have come new to the organization. So rewriting that culture again is an opportunity with each of the HR leader and the business leader, which is an opportunity of lifetime, because you don't get these opportunities again and again, because the kind of culture that was there with 100% people, 10% attrition, so 90% of the people will remain the same. They know the culture, so it is the balance 10% who have to adapt to it. Now it is only 50% of the older population is there who were pre-COVID, and then they also have kind of forgotten the culture because of 2 years not coming to the office. So that's what I would say, that it's a time to rewrite the culture for ourselves.
Thank you very much. That's a very, very important perspective given by Mr. Anandji. So, I think the scholar mic, is it audible by any chance? Are you able to hear me? Yeah, okay, so I will just avoid this. Very, very important 3 I's that Anandji spoke about is information, intention, and of course the third I was inclusivity. That's very important. So, while the culture underwent a lot of change, I will just jump a couple of speakers because my immediate thought process, a lot of emotional turmoil also happened at that point of time, right? So while the leaders were in terms of fixed key, what exactly, there are a lot of emotions which fluid the whole market in terms of individual, because you don't know what's going to happen. You are insecure because you have to serve your job, you have to serve your family. There have been a lot of situations where you don't know where you should look, what is the priority, right? And to touch upon that, I have Ms. Annapurna ji. I would like to hear out from you in terms of your experience, in terms how the emotional outflow happened, and what was the role of the compassion, the kindness, of course your perspective into this whole era of hybrid culture, and infused with the importance of the compassion, the kindness piece of it, how that stitched together to set this whole process right. So.
Well, I think first of all, thank you for the good start, Arun, and giving the, the 3-stage what we went through. And exactly as Arun told, that we didn't have any blue book, we didn't have any policies, how to handle it. As good you are, as good we are. I think we all came back to, LKG or pre-nursery. How do we handle things? We were also surprised, we also didn't know. So, well, to take back from, sorry, Anand, Arun. I did some listen. So, this exactly happened even in COVID time. We are all confused with many, many things. And Arun asking about how did we manage our emotions? Did we all learn how to manage our emotions? Did we all got assessed how to handle emotions, or if I'm angry, how should I regulate my anger? If I'm fearful, if I'm grief, we all went through grief, right? We all know
Yes,
that
yes.
it's the strongest emotion. Anger, we were not getting beds, we were not getting X, Y, Z. Someone has been out from the job, and how to handle financial stabilities and things like that. Anger was one more strong emotion, which we all went through. And why COVID? Why those Chinese fellows have given it to us? A lot of questions, right? And unanswered questions. Why the hell they're eating everything, whatever they're seeing there? So a lot of questions, lot of no answers with us and things like that. At the end of it, a lot of emotions. And of course, for me, I would see it in twofold journey. One as a HR leader, one as a personally what I've gone through, and I think I never thought that I would be finding or be a founder of a consulting firm called Emotional Ethics, which was forcing me to drive emotional intelligence, emotional literacy in the country. And this didn't happen with any COVID or any Chinese tie-up with me, okay? So it was all my individual thing, because I have been seeing in the organizations with 11 different organizations working together, seeing the tables, being executive leaders with so many things and all. I saw often we have always been a party, as HR leaders also, to only select people based on IQ. Okay? Yes. Are you better off than that chap? Are you better off than that chap? And then we were great in assessing. All of us, not only here and we all are great in assessing of our IQs. And we have academic results, we have institutions, A, B, C, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 and things like that. COVID exactly tested that. This black swan event. Many leaders didn't know how exactly to handle businesses because they lacked EQ, which is more important, which is 80% of what makes your success factor. HR success. Yes, 80% or more than that also. If you ask me, 100% I will tell. Yes, IQ is needed beyond a time. And IQ stops, believe me, I think already for all of us it has stopped. It cannot be increased much more. EQ is something which till death you can increase it. Right? Now these emotion literacy or emotions handling and things like that, unfortunately in our schools, in our colleges, in our higher educations, in our corporate life, no one has ever taught us. If you are having an emotion running through you, emotions are data. They're energy in motion. And if I do not know what's happening to me, that data is not known to me, it's a beautiful science. It's not something that, oh, please don't cry, you're a boy. Why? Why should I not cry? I'm a human being, right? Oh, don't laugh. Don't be too happy, girl. You should not show your happiness too much because you're a girl. So much of stereotyping in our lives. So many of these things and all. We have never understood. But my humble, this one is, please start embracing emotions. Now, when it has come to kindness, when it has come to compassion, as we were seeing, the second version of the COVID, exactly a year back, April, May 2021, when we were sitting. Many homes have been hit with this. Many things have happened. I will give you an example of my life. My father, my husband, both were under COVID with Delta variant. My daughter is a medical student, okay? And she is not at home. And my mother was she's an asthmatic patient. So I have to first rehabilitate her somewhere else. or put her aside or this one. So all of this going on, one side employees, things in the organization, one side your home, and things like that. And then one night my daughter calls telling, Amma, I'm helpless. A health worker, a doctor telling helpless, where will you and I go? She's telling, I'm waiting for someone to die, Ma, so that I can take out that oxygen mask and put it to someone else. Our country is not having infrastructure. We don't have. Medical and health workers and many other emergency services have been tested like anything. And they're not at an age where they're experienced. I'm talking about a 26-year-old girl who is almost with your age group, who is battling there with lives. And she's calling, she didn't know where to talk, with whom she can tell this. And now I'm at the receiving end because I'm her mother. And here, HR is always considered as the mother of the organization. They come and they share with us.
Absolutely.
They tell everything to us, and we are at the receiving end. But what about this HR leader? Where will this HR leader go? Who is there to talk? Right? That's where networking, that's where communities, where we can share all of this and all. So compassion and kindness have been redefined. Empathy, the word which is loosely used. We all are better at rational empathy, get connected, we discuss things and all. But where about emotional empathy? Where about compassionate empathy and things like that? How can we really do? These were all tested. And believe me, my friends, there has a lot which has been demonstrated from unknown sources. I got food delivered to my home because when my both my members of the family were under COVID, I got help from somewhere else. I didn't even know them. They just told, don't worry, we will give you the food packets. Right? There were neighbors who have helped. There were as exactly employees who were coming for help and things like that and all. So basically, HR stands for humane. And that humane will be there. No amount of AI can creep over and take out that kindness. No amount of AI can take out that empathy, intuition, empathy, kindness. These are all compassion. All of it is we human beings, right? So we can build on this. So my two giveaways at this point of time is, one, embrace emotional intelligence like anything. Understand it. You can learn it. It is a learnable skill and doable skill. Two is also to see that leadership doesn't mean at a pinnacle. Okay, I have 25 years of service, then I become a leader. No. Everyone is a leader. Everyone. Leadership rebooted, exactly. It's rebooted. So all of you are leaders. You all must have also taken some charge during these 2 years to do something. Right. These are all events and all which you are doing it. But you just go back and think over last 700 days. What is that one thing which I have never done in my life? I have done it. That's all leadership. You're leading the ship somewhere. You're doing it, right? Please, with this, I think I'll come back again.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anupali. That's a very, very, it's a perspective which nobody eventually thought about before this COVID came up, because rightly said that the EQ word was very loosely used across, but the actual test of EQ quotient actually came up when this COVID struck, because rightly said, and everybody who is there with me today in this dais will actually share that there had been situations where you got calls from employees seeking for help, but you had help because you had no resources to provide. Organization had limited resources which they tried putting across wherever possible, but there had been certain limitations across, and that point of time you had no options rather than say a no to a person, knowing that it may be a life and death situation. So that is a turbulence that HR as a function underwent, and that requires a lot of intrinsic motivation for a person to drive such situations. And I would like to put it across to Mr. Vinayji in terms of what you feel is intrinsic motivation which actually drives a leader, or which has been driving a leader to handle such situations specifically in this hybrid era. So your perspective, please.
Thank you. So I have a different perspective on why first wave was different from second wave and the third wave. First wave, we heard somebody is down with COVID. Second wave, we had somebody in our family or known circle who we knew was down with COVID. So our response emotionally was very different in the second wave versus the first wave. Right? Intrinsic is internal. We talk of internally how are we motivated, what is it that we are doing, right? HR folks, after the professors love to talk, let me tell you, right? Teachers, professors love to give lectures, and then the next in line is HR folks, right? We just love to talk. But we're all here on a Saturday. All of you are sitting here for 2 hours, clapping hands every 5 minutes to make sure that everybody is awake, and also encouraging us, of course. Intrinsically, internally, if you're here to learn from us, and if we are here to learn from you, how many of you have a notebook with you to record? She said 2 takeaways. My 2 takeaways are this. How many of you are here, right? All of you are graduates and doing your post-graduation, right? Adults. How many of you have a notebook? I've been making notes myself. That is out with you, and you're making notes. Just look around. Just look around, people. Right? The reason why I bring this up is there is so much that Bijoy can do from your college to get all of us here, to give great speeches, to give great knowledge to all of you. But if you're not retaining that part of the knowledge, there is no point in any of you even sitting in this room. And trust me, even if nobody's there, we'll give a lecture and go, because we've come 1.5 hours driving from wherever else that we've come from, right? We will get our LinkedIn posts up saying that had a great HR success talk session, and we'll have 100 other followers, 50 of you from here who will say, go connect, follow, because somebody said you should network. Networking is not to go on LinkedIn and click connect. Networking is when you're able to take away from these sessions.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's going to be a critical part. So I'm not saying you should have a notebook, by the way. The smarter ones would have said, sir, I have a mobile phone, I'm recording it on my mobile phone on WhatsApp, and I'll put it up on the group. Now technology, AI, right? We love to talk of AI technology, right? How do we utilize that technology to record information and share with people? If you're looking at intrinsic motivation, productivity, right? And I was just making notes of, how can you make sure that you're intrinsically motivated? That is, you feel that you are a part of the journey that you've embarked on, right? All of you are here with an objective. Objective could be to get married. Objective could be to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend here in college. It could be to get a job. It could be to start a business. It could be to join your family business. There could be multiple objectives. Or it could be that, okay, 2 years I will not be disturbed by my parents. Let me go enjoy my life and do an MBA, right? Whatever may be your objective, have you identified that sense of purpose that we just heard, right? Have you started identifying why are you here? The first step there is you have to start respecting each other. Respect doesn't mean that, okay, I will give you respect, you give me respect. Respect also means that, are you respecting your own time? Are you making sure that you're making the best out of this conversation that you're going to have with us for the next 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever time that we are going to be here? That's what will drive your motivation. Because if you have a genuine conversation with us, if you take away 1 or 2 things from whatever we speak here, you will remember this conference and conclave, and that's how you will become as a leader, where you will start behaving genuinely with people. That's how you will become a leader who will start making sure that you respect others. Today, if I've told you take 2 takeaways, tomorrow when you become a team leader, you will tell your team also, make sure that when you come into a meeting, you have 2 takeaways, right? Takeaways can be different in every meeting. But the concept of making sure that you are understanding that will remain the same here, outside, anywhere else. Right? The biggest learning, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest motivation that we had to get was for your faculty. They would hate usage of mobile phones. Do you agree? Yes, sir. And they were forced to be on technology, teaching, taking classes, learning how to use different platforms. Somebody would unmute, somebody would mute, somebody would write a comment, right? It was a nightmare. And a round of applause to them that they actually unlearned and learned during that time to make sure that they're able to teach you. Nobody told them you have to do this. It was intrinsic motivation. They thought, I have to teach my student. I have to learn a different way to teach. Then I might as well learn a different way. I'm not left with a choice. So respect people. Respect your time. Always have some takeaways from these sessions. That will define how you become as a leader. That's my 2 cents.
Thanks, Vinay. I think that is something which is very, very important. What is basically having a purpose, having respect for the people that you work with in terms of their, and very rightly touched upon, when we have actually talked, we have seen, a lot of us saw videos in terms of virtual classroom going on, and then people making mockery out of things in terms of somebody logging. But you need to look on the other side of it, the efforts that the faculties took in terms of getting online the classroom. When I said world was never virtual for HR, similarly the world was never virtual for education industry as well, education sector as well. It never was a virtual world, but eventually overnight things went virtual, and it was more competitive because you still had your exams, you still had your development. The work can stop, but your education cannot. You cannot say, I won't be appearing my board exam this year, I will do it some 2 years down the line. That won't happen. The equal pressure was on your faculty members as well to ensure that you are geared up to take up the upcoming competitive exam. How do? You are not in classrooms, you are not available. Then the technology phase came in, and then people who had never been on technology platform, who had never been using technology platforms to deliver outcome specifically, which is going to impact future of thousands of students who are going to come out, where who got into that platform, they learned it, they implemented, they ensured that you are successful. And people who actually are passing out 12th or 10th during the pandemic is the outcome of the efforts that their faculty members took to learn the technology platform and gave them that outcome. So big round of applause for all the faculty members who actually took it up. So touching upon the technology piece of it, I have Nicola. She comes in from a hardcore tech background, managing IT services, and I would request her perspective, because she's the best person to talk about in terms of how technology advancement, first of all your perspective of the whole era of pandemic, how did you perceive that in terms of an HR person, and then of course how did you feel that technology infused and continued the employee experiences outrightly at upscale, in terms of when a lot of people did not wanted to get into or did not have the competency to use technology. And I will share you my example as well after Nicola speaks about. So Nicola, over to you. What is your perspective and how you feel that worked?
Thank you, and firstly thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and hear from all of you, as well as, I hope we get a chance to interact going forward as well. I don't claim to be an expert on technology. It was a good opportunity that I had, that being in HR, I was exposed to technology in terms of my business. A lot of very, very forward-thinking, challenging leaders that I got the opportunity to work with. And just to the 3 points that my co-panelists made, with resilience along the 3.5 years, with empathy, and as well as with intrinsic motivation, right? I think these things, when you look at technology, in my mind, the way it panned out, and I'll also use the reference of the 2 years of the pandemic, it really was to apply a combination of empathy, resilience, and intrinsic motivation, as well as leverage technology, because it was a platform through which we could stay connected. It was a platform through which we could at least identify and see, right, each other, right? And I think that really helped. When I'm looking at how technology helped HR and the management really get on track, right, almost immediately. A lot of companies, especially in India, and I have to say we're blessed to be in a country like India. We have access to technology at a click of a button. I really valued being part of India in the past 2 years much more than before, I have to say. We could make payments online. Like before we know it, everything went online, right? We didn't then realize that it would be such a struggle to shift online. Yes, there was a mindset shift that was needed, but honestly, technology got us there before we even knew it. And today, I just go out with my phone. I don't even bother taking my wallet out. Right? For anything, you've got your ID cards, everything is accessed through your phone. So how did it apply to the workforce and during the pandemic? One, it got us to be much more resilient almost immediately. Like some of you were stating, laptops, all of that was there. While that's the necessities of the workplace that was required, technology, in my mind as an HR person, I was really looking at avenues as to how to use it, right? Because we still had hiring, we still had people leaving for personal reasons more so during the past 2 years, because they took decisions to be with their family, to ensure that they needed to prioritize their personal, needs, so to say. So as HR, it was mainly about how do we enable and keep that connect going across, and technology helped a lot. There were really good apps from an onboarding app that we could, test. There was more of a day one virtual induction that gets taken place. Our L&D colleagues, I think, really stepped it up in the past 2 years to say how do we enable learning through small snippets. So there was a whole learning platform and a slew of them that came, right? And the other thing about being in Bangalore, to what you had addressed earlier, is that you have access to so many startups who got into this the past 3+ years. And to our luck in HR and the management, we were able to at least get an option from all of this. So you look at the whole life cycle of an associate, or what we call an employee, right? So when you all move from campus environment to a corporate environment, we look at it more in terms of your life cycle, right? So from the joining experience, the selection experience, there were apps that were there that even when the mile of testing, based on the answers, the body language, all of that, the EQ element of it, right? In the past, HR was known, again, to make a lot of these tests through various platforms, but it remained on paper. Applying that, I think, was what technology also brought into play. And at the tip of fingers, right? So then selection process, onboarding process, virtual, so at least there was some connect. Then you get into the person, getting to know the role, getting to know the team, the manager. And that's where I think as HR, at least I took a really bad, I just felt like how could this even happen? How can I not meet someone in my own team? I'm hiring people in my team as well, who I've never met, right? So it was a big mindset shift, but I think technology just makes all of that better. There were platforms that you could assess the person, virtually speak to the person as well, and even start engaging. There were prompts that were given. There are actual engagement prompts, apps available, right? Where you can go in and put in your mood for the day. And as a manager or as a leader, you can, at a click of a button, sense, is my 5,000 plus associates,
how they are
are
feeling,
they kind of happy? What's the, sense, right? What's the pulse
the mood meter
on the floor,
the
right?
mood meter kind.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think all those things definitely helped. What was key in the past 2 years was a wellness app, right? So the fact that health, safety, and well-being as a vertical within HR or within, the organization, the corporate world, was there. But again, I feel that came to the forefront, and the fact that they were able to just turn it around and make it more technology-driven, the fact that when there was a need within the organization, if someone needed blood, I mean, these are all things that became real for us, right? Till today, I get goosebumps when I hear people talking about unavailability of beds, because we know we spend so many nights trying to get, we wanted to do whatever we could, right? Because it was a matter of life and death for somebody you knew or someone who they knew, as simple as that. So I think the wellness apps that played in with the corporates really helped. Insurance providers as well went completely online. There was no paperwork that was required, or it was all timely done. And I think the fact that everything became so relevant based on need, I think it was an amazing outcome of the pandemic that was channeled via technology.
Right.
Even when people left the workforce during that time, the fact that social media apps like LinkedIn and everything else still made us stay connected, right? That really helped. I think the last thing that I would also maybe share from a technology front is, while everyone associates technology with, someone just being at a laptop and coding, and they can work from home throughout, I think a lot of that enabled us stay connected, right? And the fact that that community was able to contribute to us being, in a sense, still carrying on with our lives while an entire pandemic was taking place, I think it's huge. If technology wasn't there, I honestly don't know what the narrative of the pandemic would have been. We would have been closed up in our rooms, not really knowing what's even happening outside, right? So I think that's something that was great. From an HR angle, data and technology that provided that data, either in terms of analysis about how many people were unwell, or where in India were they, or were they outside India waiting to come back. So all of that information, right, at a click of a button was really helpful. So I think that's, I hope I've done justice to your question.
Right.
Around just kind of seeing how life was enabled through technology in the workspace and how it kept us humane.
Absolutely. And I was just, while I was listening to Nicola, I was just recalling the point that Dr. Madhumita Chatterjee ma'am made in terms of, while you cannot make an AI ever smart as a human brain, the whole win-win situation is we use an AI and a brain and then merge it to see how a machine can work for us, and then how we join hands to see what we can do to best serve the workforce, serve the community. So that is something which is very, very important point, and I would like all of you to make a note of this perspective. It's very, very important for us. So thanks, Nicola, for that. I think just a quick touch upon in terms of what data Nicola has been talking about. So there is something which you all need to know. There's something known as a moodometer, which is a survey which drives down to all the employees, which has become a big trend now in this industry. Every day morning when you log in, there will be a smiley which will come off a set of 5 smileys, and then it says you are sad, angry, happy, and blah blah, and you have to click, right? You just click it and then it goes away. But then what happens at the back of it, the report gets generated, and there is a hell lot of analysis which goes behind that in terms of understanding how on a particular day the employee strength is feeling like, right? And then they actually further do an analysis ki what happened during the day when you see a large spike in a mood or a light dip in a mood. Is there an event which happened in the organization? Is there any announcement which went out? They also do a team-wise analysis in terms of how a mood is, and then a lot of data gets plugged around it, and that is what has been enabled because people have gone virtual. We would have not taken that effort to take that survey when people would have been in person, but since that is now it's a virtual workforce which came into, so all these new enhancement technologies had been, it is fetching out a lot of very, very important data points out of it. Thanks, Nicola, for that perspective. Very important question comes to Nigel now. Your perspective on this pandemic, and of course the workforce requirements has changed now. There's a different need to get a different set of people to join the workforce because of the alignment which is now required as part of his hybrid workforce. So your insights into that, Nigel, I would invite you to talk about it.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Arun. And it's a pleasure to be with you here today to share my insights on this, on this forum. So, yeah, as we all discussed today in terms of how we transformed, I think me working in the talent acquisition space, again, had to bank on something which was based on paper and then move paperless. How do you ensure you create the same candidate experience, but doing something which is your core, which was probably 80%, 90% dependent on? So to answer your question, Arun, I think from my point of view, the way we transformed was, did we have a choice? Well, no, we didn't have a choice.
We didn't have a choice, yes.
But how did we adapt? Did we build systems to sustain, or did we build systems to adapt? So basically, what we had to do is overnight try to reinvent the wheel, to say the least, and try and see how do we try and capture the whole experience. Because when you look at organizations, one thing that it's very evident is, how do you create an impactful experience, ensure the candidate is in the center? Every organization, for that matter, would want to keep the customer center, but in an organization, when you're hiring, the center is the candidate. So therefore, how do you create an impactful experience when you're changing the process from start to end? And that's when what happened is you try and see how do you look at trying to do something different, but have the same end result. In terms of how we looked at the situation, I'll probably give you a few examples. I'll also talk about some of the leadership things that leadership styles we had to adapt. And to start off that is, I want to tell you a very interesting story. I'm not sure if any of you have learned or read about this story called the Honduras Bridge, which was built, or it's called the Choluteca Bridge. So Honduras is a region which is prone to hurricanes. And the Honduras people took it upon themselves to build this very unique bridge, invest a lot of money, hired a Japanese firm to build this state-of-the-art bridge. And they were so proud about this bridge, and it crossed a very prominent river, which was the Choluteca River. One day, there was a huge hurricane It came and it wiped out half of Honduras. And the funny thing is, if you go on Google, you'll see this. The road that led to the bridge was wiped out. The road that was after the bridge was wiped out. And the river changed course. The river never even went through the bridge or under the bridge. So what did that teach me? And I was reading this, during the pandemic. Are we building a career for us that is going to be built to last? Or are we going to build a career that is going to be built to adapt? Because that's what each of us went through. Now, to answer your question, some of your minds as young aspirants who are going to be looking out for an opportunity soon, what is the organization looking for in a candidate, right? How do I adapt to the hybrid world? First of all, I want to give you some clarity in terms of the hybrid world. We've been talking a lot about it. Some say permanent work from home, some say 2-day work week, some say 3-day work week, and some say flexible working hours, whether you have the flexibility to work as per your convenience. What I want to tell you is that there are 5 things which I'll tell you, which you keep at the top of your mind when you look at any organization. When we hire an experienced candidate, we can test his experience and we can ask him questions based on his experience, and we'll validate whether he's a good candidate, great candidate, or not so good candidate. But for a fresher, tell me, how do I assess you and the person sitting next to you, and tell me, how do I find a difference? There are a lot of things which are not on paper because you go through the same subject material, you're studying the same subjects. Number 1, I'll tell you this. Of course, you have to be a great communicator. You also be able to articulate well. Number 2, would you be a critical thinker? Would you be aware of what's happening around you? And would you be, number 3, proactive and a keen learner? I will give you something to do, or maybe an organization will give you something to do. It's how well you learn that differentiates you from the other. That's number 3, which I told you. Number 4, ability to adapt. Now, agility is one of the skill sets that we all talk about because not everybody is on that frame of mind to quickly change tracks and quickly run another direction or try and find another direction for that matter. So, ability to adapt. And the last thing, of course, your keen interest, and I think my fellow speakers spoke about this, passion. I'm so happy to see so many of you actually chose HR as a profession because in my career, at this stage, I didn't know what I was going to do. But at least some of you had the interest of actually sitting over here and going through that HR course that you're currently doing right now, which is a great thing. And I think for us fellow speakers sitting on the dais over here, it's inspirational to see that you guys are going to be the future leaders, be there. The last point before I hand it over to Arun, I just also wanted to share one quick book which I had banked upon during the pandemic, and it's called Good to Great by Jim Collin. I would request each of you to try and see if you can get some time to read through it. In OB, as one of your lecturers had spoken, you learn about the leadership styles and the various styles which are, what you study, right? Leadership styles. There's one thing which stood out for me because I couldn't replicate this leadership style in the virtual world. And I looked at Jim Collins to give me some direction. Though he talks about how a company goes from good to great, I looked at some of the key responsibilities and the key notes which he mentioned in that book. He talks about something called a level 5 leader. A level 5 leader has 2 very prominent things. 1, humility. 2, he has a strong will. So with humility being, in that particular space during the pandemic world, it kind of told us, hey, take a step back. Let's not push the guy too much on his work. Have that human connect with him and try and build through a different route. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to pass it back to Arun and see if there are any further questions later.
Thanks, Nigel. I think that's a very important 5-point strategy that he has talked about. I'm sure you would have made a note of these 5 strategies because that is what going to differentiate the newcomer who is coming to the industry from you and your colleague who come read the same stuff, come down for an interview. But these are the 5 things which Nigel is going to look into when you are going to approach him for a job, and then please ensure that you make those points up to the mark, right? So you talked about something which is very, very important, and I would like to come down to you because you talked about something which is a level 5 leadership, and there are certain qualities, and something I would like to introduce you to a lot of people who have only heard about IQ, and we have an expert here, something that is known as a DQ, right? Have you ever heard about this? How many of you have heard this terminology, DQ? DQ. Yeah. So I would request Annapurna ji to touch upon this. Is something which has gained a lot of popularity during this pandemic into practice. Of course, the theory had been there, but it has been brought into practice explicitly during this whole pandemic, and I would like you to put of course we will be mindful about the time frame as well, because as I said, I don't want to step in between you and the lunch served outside. So ma'am, in short, if you just want to enlighten this pool in terms of the concept, how that has been playing a very important role in this in this hybrid leadership roles in the pandemic situation. So
I would put it DQ as diverse quotient, and if you are having any other words.
I would put across a decency question to you in that case. Yep. So yeah.
Okay. So DQ per se, I think every time when an acronym comes into the market, people have their own ways to put it across. For me, being a woman leader, always DQ stands for diversity quotient. But Arun has told no, it's not that. It is a decency quotient. Okay. Now, what is this word is not used so much, this word very commonly. But when you friends are there, each other, he was not decent enough. She was not decent enough. We use it in college, but I don't feel in corporate world we use that word at all. Decency, somewhere we lose it also after some time. We don't know what is decency also. But having said that, I think yes, this is also becoming popular now, or rather important, I would say.
Yes.
And it is not that because he is my boss, I'll be decent with him. It is my investor, I'll be decent with her or him. Or it is my customer. No, everyone in the organizations requires. Everyone. I'm hiring you, I'm getting you. Even I may not hire you. What kind of candidate experience I have left with you? What are the decency calls for? Courtesy. A lot of courtesy goes into that. And I think India per se, we have been always that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We have been Atiti Devo Bhava. These are all there from generations and generations for us, right? So we don't treat anyone with, these call for respect. These are all values within the companies, all on the walls. Okay, respect for the individual. And respect for the individual always happens before appraisal, after appraisals. Right? I become very respectful to my boss just when he is going to appraise me now. Nicola was just telling that we are doing an appraisal time. So I'm sure lot of her colleagues will be
there's
respectful.
a spike in the DQ quotient.
Yes. All will be decent. They'll come on time. They will do things on time. Things. But this one thing was also tested during this time, because why I would say that is when people called others, telling that my wife is not well, my kids are not well. And imagine we are in a home wherein all the 4 or 5 people would have gone away. Only parents would have stayed back, their old retired parents. And we are not bungalows. We are 2 bedrooms, 3 bedroom flats or houses or whatever it is. Your child has to study, online studies. You have to attend office. Cooker whistle also has to go. And then your boss will make one face if they are online. So most of the times you would have not seen many of them offline. But all this we have learnt. We were okay with all of this. The child cried. The father moving in the banyans. Because in Chennai and all, obviously my father will go, yeah, it's okay. You should be okay, yeah, you should understand that it could be your father also. Or topless. Because humid places. Right? So sometimes, some of those things we were okay, and some things we weren't okay. What are those things which we weren't okay? Compliances, safety, security, all these were questioned. They told no compromise with all those things and all. So, all said and done, wherever, it's not COVID which is requiring for us to exhibit our decency. Decency is more to do with lot of courteous natures and humility. Level 5, authentic leadership, which we talk about, okay, that all calls for that. And that doesn't happen, again, as I told you, somewhere after we have matured and grey hairs have come. I keep coloring it, okay, don't worry, this is all grey. Okay, so all of that time the decency is not required. The decency starts from very beginning. how could I be decent enough? How could how would you even welcome your people to your home and leave them with a great distance? And across India you go. I think such a rich culture we have. Such a rich
Absolutely.
culture.
Yep. Yes. Yes.
Every festival is only telling us that become more culturally connected and more decent enough. Right? So this is not something which has newly been formed. This was there ingrained in our system. Somewhere we forgot it. Somewhere we ignored it. Somewhere we became little selfish. Somewhere we thought that, why should I be decent when that fellow is not decent? Right? So things have happened. Some other emotions or some other things followed up, and somewhere this competitiveness also was there. In school we are all competitive. I'll not share my homework with her. Definitely not. But in the organization, I would definitely tell, please take my homework and say whether it's right or not, and then we combine and collaborate. And how do I undo these things? 15 years, 20 years I study, and I don't do that. And coming to corporate, I'll tell I have to share it. I wish it doesn't happen. That's what is indecency. Right? So these are all some things I think we should just take a step back. Think of it. Have I performed any behavior which has caused some kind of pain to the other person? My only humble request is, when you get up in the morning, just make a small prayer. Let me not be indecent to anyone in the world. Any creature. What has that creature done for you? Don't be there. The same way, when you have slept back, if I have performed any indecency or indecent work, and that has caused some kind of hurt or humiliation, knowingly or unknowingly, God, please forgive me and give me the strength to come back and evolve myself as a greater human being with, much more better and positive stuff. If we don't do this, we are not evolving. And if we are not evolving, I don't feel that we are human anymore. Right? So, I think, let me be decent enough.
Thanks. And that's a very, very important question, and I would like all of you to make a note. It's not only how you fare in terms of an interview, how you fare in terms of intelligence, but how you are behaving with your colleagues, how you are behaving with, and not in and around the appraisal cycle, what she specifically talked about. In general, how you behave in your workplace, and that is now being focused a lot, specifically after this pandemic era. So that is going to play a very important role when you choose to get in an organization and you want to grow up your career. That's very important. Now, of course, I want to further concise this into keeping a time frame in mind. I'm quickly coming to Vinay in terms of there had been a lot of issues in terms of productivity management which came in because of this pandemic, because everything was physical, where you can see people, where you can see how your team members are flaring, how the productivity is coming out, and then suddenly everything went virtual and you don't even know the team's logo is on, but the person is behind there or not, you don't even know. The timesheets has to be maintained, the billing has to happen. And of course, in light of the recent word that she has talked about, the decency quotient has to be also intact. So, Vinay, your thoughts, how that was managed, and what is your advice in terms of how that can be made better in the coming
First
days?
of all, Arun has taken all the talk time from all of us. After all of us speak, he keeps reminding us talk concisely, but he takes all the time. So, 1 point for you for that.
Thanks for being.
But that's exactly the point, right? Productivity. We all think of effectiveness, productivity in different angles. Now, for you as college students, I don't even think you would understand what it means really, apart from the fact that the day you accomplish studying for 6 hours without a break, that's the most productive time that you would have spent. When you sit to study, you will think of so many topics. I used to remember as a student, we had kept a book. So we would do group studies because we're not intelligent people. So we need other people to teach us when we are studying. So we would keep a book of topics to be discussed after exam, because suddenly when we are studying, somebody says, Acha, why is there a crow and not a pigeon here? There's so many distractions. These are distractions, right? So for productivity, what we've realized, and that also comes through experience, is 2 or 3 things. First is, not always you will get to do a job that you like, but you have to do a job to the best of your ability each time, every time, if you have taken that up. that will improve your productivity and the outcome or results that you expect out of a job that you're doing. Anything that you do, even if you like it or you do not like it, right? You have to make sure that you do to the best of your ability. Second thing is consistency. And you should meet Ashish and Shrikant who are here in the audience.
Yes,
if you could
yes,
just
yes.
sort of,
Raise your hands,
a
yeah.
lot of things that they do, say on a lot of platforms, right? They do it consistently. Now you can't just do things consistently without working. The first step is you have to do something to write something, right? So consistency is very critical for your credibility to be built and you to become productive. There could be some people here who would be experts on sport, some people who would be expert on movies, some people who would be expert on, say, where you can go out, how can you bunk a class, what time you will not have somebody seeing you outside, etc., right? Effectiveness. These are guys who would have made sure that they know every small detail to effectively guide and tell you that, boss, if this is the question, this is the answer, right? For mastering effectiveness, you will have to be consistent. You will have to make sure that you do what you do to the best of your ability. Keeping in mind the time and lunch break, and obviously you promising that your next person that you will give the mic to, you will only take 30 seconds before you pass on the mic.
Yes, absolutely. Not even 30 seconds. I will just
Thank
immediately
you.
pass on the mic. So my question goes to Anandji there. Of course, I will club two questions again. The learning aspect of the pandemic and your closing comment is how that can be nurtured in the coming year. Less than 30 seconds? I'm too a good learner.
So you said two questions. One is on the learning.
Learning aspect, how that has been evolving, and then your advice to how we can further ride on it in the coming year.
Okay. So learning aspect, you mean how the learning in the
Yes,
organization kind of
evolved
changed?
in this pandemic, in the hybrid leadership model, for
Sure.
specifically students who want to take it up as learning as a career for them.
Sure. So just to take you through one of the Gartner's report that came in Jan 2021, which was after COVID wave 1, which said, which was on this hybrid mindset and hybrid leadership, basically how hybrid work will kind of shape the future. And I'm talking of January 2021. So again, typical any kind of consultant 2x2 matrix is the something which is there for everyone, any consultant will do. So they had 2x2. So on one hand they had mindset, on other hand they had skill set. So people or the HR leaders who have mindset as well as skill set to do well or to think about hybrid is they called it as hybrid champions. The second was where mindset is there but skill set is lacking or is not there as such. That was basically hybrid strivers. The third set was which is hybrid resistors, which had the skill set but didn't have the mindset. And fourth is laggards, where both the things do not occur. So my only question: what is the percentage that you think in January 2021 would have been on hybrid resistors? Why I'm putting you there is because that's the percentage which have the skill set. I have the skill set, but I don't have the mindset to think about hybrid. So what, according to you, would be the percentage there? It was 78%. So 78% of the HR leaders, that's what the Gartner says, had the skill set to do hybrid well, but they didn't have mindset. So that's the kind of era that we were in. And then we had to get into an era where again everything got locked out and now we are into hybrid. So some of the things that we did as a company, I will take you through that, was we made everything online. Like Nicola said, online induction, everything kind of getting into online. You don't even meet your team members. And there is a funny thing that happened within my team. There's a lady who joined us in, I think, April 2020. Till date, I have not met her. till date, and we are 100% work from office now after COVID. So the moment it was there, there was a COVID, then she got married, and now she's on maternity leave. So things happened in such a way that I have not met her till date. But she was working, not now, but yes, at that time when it was. So this is the thing that happened. And then with all our stores which got opened, when the stores were closed, I told you, 50 crores revenue suddenly got stuck. And the only thing that came to our mind is the moment this store, government allows the stores to open, that's the first thing that we want to do. Machinery, even if it produces 1 crore a day, what we are losing 50 crores, we can't really get it back. But at least the moment government allows us to open a store, we want to open it. The innovation that came in, we took spaces in the apartments and went there and sold our Mac stuff. We took spaces in apartment, went there as a lifestyle brand and sold there. I don't know how many of the apartments were approached for the people over here. People were trained, again, online. And how online? At that time, some of my team members or some of the employees didn't even had the smartphones. Because we are a company which pays into a majority of the workforce will be striving on the minimum wages. They didn't even had a smartphone. And then to keep them engaged, to keep them into how to do it was a bit challenge, where not only the trainings, the how to counter that effect which is going on, because these are the guys who are living in one room and with 5 people in that room. Suddenly one of them is into COVID, and then you have to shift them to somewhere where we also don't know, but then find a lodge, find a hotel, put them there, because we don't want anyone else to get impacted with that. And during that time, all our trainings went online, thanks to our, I would say, L&D team that made every aspect of it into online, made a very small snippets. Getting attention even right now, we have been speaking for past 1.5 hours. How many of us or how many of you have been able to listen to us to that effect? But when you are online, which is going on, the lecture is going on online, how do you make sure that the attention span is there for an employee? Because that impacts our sales, that impacts the customer experience, which is the must, right? Ultimately, sales is what will drive us money, nothing else. Employee experience, whatever you say, ultimately when you talk to a CEO, the first thing he will say, okay, tell me what is the sales that has been done. Rest we will see. That's the first thing that comes to any CEO. Where is the customer? What is the customer saying? Today also, most of the hotels or any stores you go, you will find people wearing masks. None of us over here are wearing masks. But when we want to go to a hotel, when we want to go to a branded shop, first thing we want ourselves to be safe, and we want people to wear masks. Though none of us wear it wherever we go, right? But still, at the hotel or at the store, we want people to wear the mask because we want us to be safe. So same mindset. And we all are customers, right? You all are my customers. So that way, we have to train, and we get these queries day in and day out. Nobody is wearing mask now. Can we remove it? And the first thing that comes out is, be patient. We will get it removed, but let the customer feel safe. So there are various ironies that the learning team has to go through. Smaller content, very precise, make sure that the emotions are kind of controlled, make sure that people are engaged. So that's what I would say was kind of taken at that time. Now with respect to priorities, some of the priorities that have come again from Gartner report of October 22 for HR is first and foremost, which kind of was a very big surprise for me that came in, is HR leaders are worried about change management. And for us, HR, that is bread and butter. Because unless there is a change, we can't really strive. But what HR leaders are saying is employees are fatigued of the change. In 2016, there were 74% of the employees who were ready to change. This year, the number is at 38%.
Just reduced to half, yes.
At 38%, which is very, very, very concerning, which means that employees, the way they have gone through, and initially all of us have spoken about it and we all have experienced it. The way things have changed in past 2.5 years, no one wants a change right now. Everyone wants, okay, let us settle a bit, then we will see what is to be changed.
Perfect.
So that is one of the top priorities in the HR priorities. The second goes as recruiting, because still the attrition is going to be high. That is what is predicted. And then the kind of skill set which is required internally is not available. On one hand, HR is saying that the skill set that is required internally is not available. On the other hand, that is again in the Gardner report which has come up, is that we cannot offer compelling careers to the employees within the company. Because now even employees are thinking or challenging, why should I get into something for 8 hours and you pay me for 8 hours, you want me to be devoted for 24 hours, right? You don't want me to work anywhere else apart from this company, which we are discussing on moonlighting and other things happening. So why should I spend my 24 hours with you? I am happy to earn less, but let me find time for my family. Let me enjoy life with my family. And the workforce, or you people coming in further to the, to the offices, you will have many more compelling questions for all of us with gray hairs, and you will challenge us much more. You have spent 15 years in one company, but why should I even spend 15 months with one company? If it is not offering me a career, if it is not offering me what I am looking into. And we have inducted a few of MT management trainees, they are fresh CAs last week into our company. And during the induction, this is the first day I am talking to them, and one of them actually asked me, when is that we will get our next promotion, our role change? First day into the job, getting induction. And we were, all of us as an HR, we were like, is it a right question to answer right now, or should we give it a pass, or what is? And then there is a colleague of mine saying, actually, Anand, I have also not asked you about my promotion. I said, yeah, we'll talk to you. So that's what is happening. That's what you all bring to the table. We will have to adapt to many more things after listening to you.
Perfect.
And when you join us in the offices, there would be much more challenging environment that will come up for us.
I think that's a brilliant perspective, Anand, which comes in from you. I think that's a real practical scenario, eye-opener. So I open the forum for questions, because I'm sure a lot of people would like to ask certain questions to the dignitaries available here. So I would like to pass on the mic, Vijay. You can just let people, if you have any questions to any of these panelists who are available here, I'm opening this forum up for questions. Anybody can just circulate the mic here. Yeah. So questions? Yeah, there's a question. And you can also, if you have any specific panelists you want to direct the question to, please.
No, actually, I don't have this to address to anybody in specific. My name is Shrikant Acharya, and there's a question that comes to my mind quite often, and I think this is a great place to kind of try to get an answer to that. Because recruiters are here as well as the prospective candidates are here. The constant contradiction that I generally see is you're always seeing news about unemployment, and there are so many people who are not getting jobs and all of that stuff. And when you speak to any business owner, any HR, anybody, they're saying we're not getting the right candidates. can you try to address where is that gap getting created from, and is there a way that these gaps can be bridged?
I would direct this question to Nigel here to answer this.
Right, that's a great question, actually, because the way I'd like to put it is this way. There are certain skills in India which have kicked off far further in terms of certain other skills. For example, if you look at, we have a panelist over here which are coming from different companies with a different background. Now, I would say Anand might say that he's able to get abundance of talent because his skill set requirement would be somebody who's a fresher, willing to do field work, willing to be in a store at this point in time. If you ask me, my organization looks at hiring candidates who are more from a commerce background, more from a CPA aspirant or a CA aspirant or an ACC aspirant. Now, if you ask me the demographic of how many people really want to pursue a CA, CPA or an ACCA, there would be a limited number of people. And what happens is when you look at accounting firms, that's your golden mine or your gold mine, right? So when you try and tap into it, for me, if you ask me, we are working right now on a demand and supply issue. There is a lot of demand of work, but there is very less of supply. So what happens right now in the system of the entire workspace, there are companies, a lot of companies that are going after limited amount of people. Now what happens, you go far above what your CTC bands are, you try and position your company to be the best company to work, and you look at all other perks which you can try and engage the candidate to join you. So to answer your question, I think there is the need to understand which sector is facing an abundance of employment issues and which sectors are facing more in terms of a limited amount of resources would probably give you a solution to say, do we have talent or do we have an area to look into that talent? And to give the mic back is that the area which is currently in demand, would we want to encourage people who are not in that sector to explore an opportunity if the need arises? So I think I'll also probably invite the other panelists as well to maybe add on to what I've just mentioned. Maybe they can also share some insights.
I'm just interrupting here because we would like to take up certain more questions in case there are people, and then we can revisit. Yeah, please, sure.
Well, adding on to that, of course, the demand and supply, I would also urge the institutions, academia to revisit their syllabus. Time and again. I know there are, efforts which are happening, and also invite professionals to sit while you're devising your programs and things like that, so that you'll understand what is required for the market. So as Nigel was telling that there is an issue, if you ask Vinay and me, we both do not get talent because we both are in fintech market. And today fintech is booming like anything. But again, his fintech requirements and my fintech requirements are different. So there is a requirement. Again, in the specific PGDM syllabus, which you are trying to do it over there, again, HR has gone very far away. Finance has gone very far away. Marketing, sales and marketing has gone very far away and things like that. So I know there is a Bangalore University prescribed some syllabus and things like that, but can you tweak little? And just don't rest on internships and project works. Be live with us. My humble request is, you don't wait for Bijoy to connect you to us and things like that. Just pick up us on LinkedIn and tell, hey Annapurna, I have read something on recruitment, talent acquisition trends and all, but I wanted to discuss something with you. Pick up a time with me and then have a conversation with me. Come do a live projector for a week or so. You have weekends. Come down there. Just see what is our life first of all. What are we? Shadow us for some time and figure it out. These all will help you to understand what kind of skills we require at there. And that will start narrowing this gap. Because we don't have talent. We're all crying. All of us are crying. We're sitting on 50 odd positions now. As we sit over here, this is not cool. This is not at all cool. If I open there, I'm sure that fellow will join. Tomorrow, Monday morning, no one of us is at bliss. It's completely blue. Because we don't know the talent will walk in. Including the fresher to the most experienced person. And they're switched off with their phones. No decency. Yes. So please, I would humbly tell that it should be like a tripartite agreement. If I wanted the talent to be ready to the industry, academia, and the student, all three of us have to work in collaboration. Until that will happen, we both will be parallel lines.
Perfect. I think well answered. And Bijoy, I think you can make a note of the requirement is already there with two of them. Okay. So next question, please. Yeah. Question. Anybody can pass on the mic, please. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Venkat. I head HR for a company called M Result Services. Just want to share some thoughts and ask a question. Talent has become a commodity these days, right? And digital era, and a lot of digital practices in talent acquisition. Do you think the good candidates are still lost? When I say good, whatever we spoke about, in terms of human, passionate candidates who have the drive, etc. Are talent acquisition and HR folks trying to check box with the existing tools, and we still miss out those good candidates? What do you think about it? What I'm saying is we're too much digitized. In this digitization process, are there still some good candidates which are lost in the process? Any thoughts?
Since we have been talking about tech with Nicola, so I would request Nicola to take up this question and then.
Thanks for that. I think that's something we ask ourselves all the time, right? And especially as HR, we've always been, apart from being the heart of the organization, most of the time we've always been the conscience of organizations and teams, right? So I don't have a golden answer, but I think things like behavioral event interviewing has, in my experience, worked out very well. Again, you need to be able to apply it and use it to your benefit, right? When you're looking at talent. Maybe there are good assessment filters at the initial level that gives you some indication. And it also depends on what you need, right, in terms of the talent and teams in the organization based on, like here itself, we've got such a variety of needs. But keeping my answer a bit more relevant to the audience here, right? So there will always be a foundational aspect that will be a requirement wherever we go. And whatever we choose to do, whether it's 5 years, 0 years, 15 years, 20 years. That foundational aspect is what we will have to invest in terms of our own skills and competencies. To assess it, we will have to be able to go past, I think, those first initial assessment tools. But once you get into conversation and discussion stages, I don't think you can bank on digitization so much, right? And you have to be able to look at it more in terms of how do you dovetail the two together, or dovetail many aspects together. Again, when it comes to behavioral interviewing, I've been on the receiving end as well as the other end, right? And I feel like it's so situational. You have to be able to look at how do you bring yourself to that answer when getting selected? How do you stay unique to yourself? Everything that we spoke about today is not rocket science, right? It's about being our intrinsic selves at the end of the day, and how do you position that to your prospective employer? I think that in a first conversation itself, do you make the connect? Those kind of aspects play out. So I do feel that maybe we could do better in balancing the digitization selection procedure or digitized selection procedure. Do we do it really well today? I don't suppose so. I think there is a way to go. But even from as a corporate representative to y'all as the future of the workforce coming in, I think we have a long way to go. We have to understand your psyche, right? While you continue to understand ours, and because it's more like y'all are coming into the corporate world, I truly believe today, I ask myself this question every day: how much have we stayed connected across generations, right? I'm 2 decades into work experience. But sometimes I miss the fact that, y'all come with so much of energy, y'all come with so much of kind of curiosity that we forget. And I think that's something, if we were able to share or understand at an interview stage, it'll be great. So I hope we could, get better at balancing both the aspects, using technology as filters and guidelines, but not as decision making. I mean, end all decision making can't be black and white.
Right. Thanks, Nicola. So, in view of the time, I will be able to take one more last question. Anybody? Of course, there are any students who would like to put across, because, yeah.
Yeah. So, hello, good afternoon. My question will be for Vinay sir. As a HR, how have you seen the changes in pre-COVID and post-COVID? Did the change was good for you, and how you manage the people?
So, very interesting. In the first wave, a lot of HR folks were busy writing down rules of Zoom etiquette, Teams meeting, Google Meet, what should be there, background, blah, blah, blah. I told my CEO, can we just let the kids alone? You know, let them figure it out. 2 days, there will be noise in the background. Third day, they'll figure it out themselves. And uniquely, it was one of the best experiences we could provide by not giving any instructions to people at all. It takes a lot of guts because suddenly everybody wants to give instructions. How do we deal with them? What do we do? How do we teach them? I mean, everybody is an adult. So we said, see, if they're adults, let's treat them as adults and just leave the kids alone, right? One day, somebody will come in the background. Second day, they will not come in the background and they know there's a meeting. So there's so many times when my maid, where my workstation is, and then that's where they have to go and dry the clothes. So 2 times the maid would just walk in. Once I introduced her to somebody I was talking to, say, oh, she's my maid, Usha. Next time, before entering, if she sees me, I'm talking on the computer, she'll say, Bhaiya, main jao ya nahi jao, you know. So you don't have to give instructions all. So the way we dealt with it is by not giving instructions. All of us have our own ways to adopt. Right? All of us were talking of how the world will change 2 years back. All of us are back talking how traffic is still the same in Bangalore and become even more pathetic. So let's stop giving future sermons and let's not, start saying eras and how things will change. Let's live it by the day and see how it comes. Agility, to the point that Nigel mentioned, is critical. If you are able to constantly be agile in your thought process, it'll be easier for you to adopt. Either ways, adoption has to happen. You either embrace it with a smile or you crib and take, adopt to the situation. Either ways, it has to happen. So if you are agile, you will embrace it and you will smile and take the change in your stride.
Perfect. Thanks, Vinay.
To change his offices, That means once near the hall, once near the balcony, beautifully set up, and it was so greatly inspirational. Then he'll put the garden, he'll have some pots behind, front, and everything and all. So it was very motivating even to see those pictures, and it was very different kind. We have never done that. We never thought that from the home we'll do offices. So it was very
Perfect.
nice to see all of that.
So any last question coming in? Last question. Okay. I am okay to take 10 other questions provided Mr. Bijay permits me to do that. So I will just have a...
I would be talking from the pain point of academia.
Yeah.
So can I get a chance? Yeah. Good. Well, that's fine. I'll pick it up. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Uzma. I represent one of the colleges, but I thought with this question, I would certainly be addressing a pain point of academia. We've been talking about bridging the gap between industry and academia. There are eclectic variety of opportunities for the youngsters, the youth. They are so confused as to what to choose and, where do they start their careers off from. Even if at all they've been hearing. Now, for example, in HR itself, there are variety of roles for them, right? Yes. So how do they get, into that informed decision, if at all they arrive at a point as well? How do they prepare, for that particular position? I feel that if the industry is able to tell us as to, because, each one of you are into different service and product, and, what you would look at in terms of skills and talent is definitely, different, right? So if we as academia are told about this is what you look in these students, maybe I was having a word this morning with Ms. Annapurna and trying to understand, with her requirement, and she happened to mention that she looks at the candidates who are good at Python and, few technologies that she mentioned. I said, glad, if you tell us, probably we'll ensure that our students are, prepared on those concepts, and probably then we focus on that particular company or that particular area. So can that be possible? Is that a way to bridge that gap? Yeah.
I'll attempt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was tempted not to...
Please, Vinay, go ahead. You will take all the time, I know. No,
I have to get back at you. So, first and foremost, he's giving it back to me decently. So I like it. But first and foremost, thinking that industry knows everything is a wrong notion. We have no idea what's happening. We are telling Python to you today because somebody is selling higher Python. Tomorrow somebody will tell go hire Java, we'll go running and hire Java.
Absolutely.
Get us Java, get us Java. You can't keep changing the ship every now and then because industry is jumping up and down, right? So the first fact is we have also not figured it out, by the way, right? We are also evolving and we are also learning. We are being forced to be agile. Let me tell you, we may give big speeches here, but somebody says, boss, I do, like Nigel is in recruitment, and all of us have done recruitment in some format, right? We would be going behind a particular profile and we would have lined up 100 candidates. And we have almost one to be selected and we are pushing our businesses. Can you take a call on this guy? Oh, sorry, our requirement has changed. While talking to this candidate, I realized we have to also have this skill in the particular search, right? So we have not figured it out, point number one. How do you bridge the gap? And it's very critical, is the most important way to bridge the gap is if academia, teachers have internship instead of putting all the pressure on students. They are 20, 21-year-olds. Do this certification also, do that also, do this also. I mean, what do you expect them to come out with all those things, right? We are evolving constantly. If you can come and do an internship with us to understand how we are evolving and relay that back to the students every year in a different way, half the problems will change, because then students will talk the language that that you guys have heard us speak, and we change our language every year, right? The problem is maybe every quarter. Right? We change our language every quarter. And I've done that experiment in one of my stints where I had faculty members get into an immersion program where they had faculty spending 1 week with industry every year, learning what's happening, what's changed, going back and just relaying it to the students. Students are smart enough to make a decision after that. Second thing is problem of plenty, right? There's a lot of options. How do I choose one? I'm sorry, we don't have an answer to that, right? You have to figure it out yourself. I may tell you 100 things, choose this way, choose that way. It doesn't work. The best way to do that, or the best way to deal with that, is first 5 years of your career, look at it as experiments, some failed, some successful, right? Pick up jobs and to the pain point that he was just mentioning, saying that day one, oh, what is the career path? What is the change for me, right? 5 years, don't ask questions. Just learn on jobs and see which one you like. It's like flirting with jobs, right?
Yes.
Till you get married, right? You keep flirting till you get married, right? So keep flirting with different jobs to see how you like which one, and maybe you'll figure it out. Do I want to be in HR after 17 years, heading HR globally for an organization? The answer is no. I'm looking at an alternate career options, trying to figure out what do I want to do. I still haven't figured out my purpose in life, by the way, right? So it's okay to be confused. But keep doing what you do consistently, like I mentioned some time back. Do it to the best of your ability till you're doing it, and keep trying new things. That's the way you will be able to make a decision.
Perfect. Yeah. Any point?
We just add very quickly, right? Because I think where confusion's concerned, a lot of us may have experienced it. I can literally, I don't know if anyone in my batch always had I want to become this and I've gotten there. Because the world changes, right? And we know that from the pandemic, how much we've shifted. So just with academia, and I felt this because I did engineering, and in the last semester I got exposed to HR. But from an academia perspective, for whatever reasons, it was interesting. So I said, okay, let me, get into recruitment. That was the only kind of, avenue at that point in time to get in. But that's exactly right. Like, you dabble in certain things and then you figure out your way. And then I realized, hey, this is the first time I want to study and I want to pick up an MBA. But I knew fairly well that, a PGDBM was the way to go, because I wanted to be exposed to faculty that had industry experience. I couldn't picture myself sitting in a college and just hearing stuff, right? So the point I was trying to make is, apart from internships of faculty, of corporate even possibly coming, right? And because even we need to understand, how much, where are we at? And if we are banking on y'all being the future of the workforce, honestly, so many organizations are looking at their structures and saying that they're going to have a large number of, students come in, right? Because they want that kind of fresh mindset, innovative mindset, challenging mindset to come in, which sometimes in an experienced workforce you're not going to get to a large extent. So if that's going to be our future, structure of our corporate family, then y'all are going to really play a big part. And as part of that, I think we need to maybe have more conversations like this. Not so much a tell, but more of experience sharing both ways. Because if you take any topic, whether it's HR or anything else, it's about us collectively thinking through that, right? And I think that is what's missing. Forums that bind both the corporate and the campus on a particular topic. Like, I don't know today whether even our talent acquisition teams really understand the pulse of, corporate to campus, campus to corporate. I don't know, right? This is all something that through experience we try to put manuals in place. But today, if you go to see, like, I've got a nephew who's just about become a teenager, and the way he debates with me is crazy. I'm just like, where did he get this information from, right? And you Monday morning we go back to the workforce. We're searching for people who can actually challenge you, and you're not seeing it, and that's the gap. That's where the gap's coming from. Where maybe not being relevant enough both ways. That's
One thing which worked out with one of the university and where I was a part of it is the complete mentorship program. And mentorship program, again, not telling that, okay, I will mentor entire students of ABS or Kurpanadi or something. 4 students. Very, very clear-cut program and reverse mentoring. That means the students also giving us feedback what she's trying to tell us. So listening from both of them, and the engagement is for really some 500, 600 days from the day when they started the journey. From the time they have got their onboarding or induction or whatever day one over here, and signing off with industry leaders. 1.5 lakhs people. They all can just take up 2 people. That's it. What else? And whole of the year you're there and they're understanding. Again, bring back these HR conferences like this with other industry leaders and things like that. And amazingly it can happen. And they learn, they know what we are doing, we will know what they are learning. And additionally, they're there, already the professor there. They'll be again putting the theory, putting the practices, putting the principles and things like that and all. I think that is what it has worked. So mentorship would be one of the way which could.
And I'm sure with the collaboration which is happening between ABBS and HR Success Talk, this is going to get disrupted, and certainly a new practice is going to emerge out of this practice, which is going to get aligned the students more in terms of the requirement which is coming out from the industry. So in view of the time constraints, I am forced to cut this debate, but I would like to continue this conversation on for some more time, because I know there have been questions which is being floating up. I see still people raising hands, but the issue is we need to stick to the timings, and then there is an avenue which is available where these leaders are available with us for some more time, where they can actually, you can just meet up during the lunch and then question them in terms of any clarification that you want. And of course, you can always reach out to them, write to them, connect with them in LinkedIn forum, thanks to the social media forum. And then you can get your doubts clear, and they are always there. As per what Govind said, the entire forum is available for you to go ahead and handhold you in terms of taking you to your journeys, right? So with this, I would formally like to close this panel discussion. I would like to extend my thanks to all the panelists who are there today. Explicit thanks to ma'am and Mr. Govind Negi for providing us this platform and getting us this great thought leaders coming on this dais and sharing that. So thank you very much, and wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank
we should leave it with a challenge,
Yeah.
because otherwise the continuity of our talks will not happen. I want to openly put a challenge, and I know all these 4 also will agree with me. We do not want this kind of format. What other format can we have a HR talk?
Yes.
You please come out with us. You please come back and tell that, because you will listen to our profiles. Arey, wo to history. Dinesh, I don't want that something. Sometimes even I will think, oh, did I? Like that. So it will be through. So please come back with something very different formats.
Absolutely, we look forward for that.
New kind of engagement, new kind of
will challenge
formats
with
where
that.
we will be there on par with you, and not this dais at all. We don't want to sit on dais. It is very painful for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I request all the dignitaries to take the front seat. I would like to thank all the panelists and moderator for such a wonderful interactive session on leadership revoting. Now I request today's annotator, Ms. Radhika, to come on the stage. Ms. Radhika, Director HR Group Truck Technology Asia Volvo Group, is an experienced and enriched with 18 years of industrial experience, having worked with many renowned corporates like Accenture, Uninor, Landmark Group, etc. With a demonstrated history of working in information technology and services and product industry, she is a strong human resource and learning professional, skilled in coaching, team building, learning and leadership development, employee engagement and retention skill. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and very good afternoon to all of you. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I was telling Madam also in the morning that it's after I don't know how many years that I'm actually coming back to a campus. So really wonderful being here. I was given the task, and you would think, what after a panel is she going to talk about? So my task was actually to really take nuggets from what the esteemed panelists here really spoke of, and really see how we can, how I could give some examples or, some takeaways further from, yeah, my height is actually pretty, yeah. So, what takeaways could come from there, right? And I have quite a, I was taking so much of extensive notes that Usma actually said, I'll just take a picture of your notes because that's good enough. And that's something, when Vinay called out saying, how many of you are taking notebooks and are noting down points? I almost wanted to raise my hand and say I am because, no matter what conclave or not, no meeting goes without me taking notes. And that's also because I believe we are all learners, right? We are all learning all the time. So with that as the, a little bit of a background, and I'll just kind of call out very, I had the opportunity during the pandemic to be in a services organization because I was with Accenture at that point of time and managing technology business for Europe market. And then I moved into a product organization with Volvo Group. Where again, you can imagine, and I don't know if you're aware, but in services organization to a product organization to the culture, the skill set, everything really changes and differs. And therefore, there's so much more that you need to think of as an HR leader. But more importantly, what I would want to call out is, irrespective of what the industry is, what, the panelists here were also talking about the agility, the communication, all of that becomes very, very key, irrespective of whatever is the industry, right? Now, when one of the panelists was talking about the 3 phases of pandemic, what I thought was, irrespective of whatever is the phases of pandemic, what it actually talks about is change management. Irrespective of where we are, and HR people need to be the forefront of bringing in that change. And if I could ask you that, in your classrooms, the seats that you come and sit on, every day, do you all sit on the same seats, or do you really change? If you change, that's really great, because at least in meetings in the offices, there are seats, it's like unwritten, this is where I sit. Okay, so at times in my head, it almost seems like if my team members cannot even change the seats that they're sitting in, how are they going to bring in thoughts where there's a lot of change management that comes in? So if you really starting with that, I mean, of course, it's a very small example, but what I'm trying to say is that's how fixated we could be with certain things. And when there are pandemic or such instances that come in where you really need to shift course and think very differently, it really puts, it really shakes people up, right? Annapurna spoke about handling emotions. And one of the things that I thought, in HR we do very well was handling emotions. But really, I think I was wrong with that. Because when pandemic came in, and as an organization, I was with Accenture at that point of time, and as an organization, we really wanted to help our employees because, as in the employees, kith and kin, the employees that we had lost, we really wanted to really help the kith and kin there. And what we realized that, when we were having these boardroom conversations where we said we really need to help the family because it could be sole breadwinners, it could be, there may be families that are really shattered and don't know now what next to do. we thought, okay, what we could do is, as an organization, we, of course, can maybe look at financial help, okay? Now, it may seem okay in a boardroom, honestly. And we kind of tried to train the HR folks to say, how do you hold those conversations with the people? Because you should understand, we're talking to the parents, the spouse, or children of people who've lost their jobs, right? So what are you talking about? Do you need financial help? Would they turn around and say, are you really putting a price tag to my loved one's life? You don't know. People could turn around and ask you that, right? So it was, you can imagine, as an HR, and in few years down the line, you will also maybe holding conversations. God forbid that you hold such conversations, but if you have to, you yourself may not have gone through situations in life emotionally that would have shaken you up so much. And you're talking to an individual, maybe a father, who says, and you holding this conversation, how difficult is that conversation going to be? So therefore, how much is it important for you to have that emotional quotient, to hold that conversation in a manner that you're not really bruising their ego, not really, they taking back that the organization was putting a price tag to their loved one's life. It is not an easy task. I've had team members really break down, end of the day, saying, it was such a difficult conversation, I don't think I can have any other conversation through the day. A team member talking to a father who's a farmer, who's invested all their energy and time and money and everything into getting the child to be an engineer. And that engineer, was part of Accenture, lost his life to pandemic. What is the HR person talking to? Saying, we understand, blah, 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 all of that. Is there any financial help that you would need? And I know from the background that there is help that may help that family. But what the father turned around and asked is, I have lost what I lived for all these years. And went ahead to even say that, if you guys can understand Hindi, jo kandha de sakta tha, wo gaya. Ab aap kya de doge? And what would the HR person react or respond? Now that's live example for you. Those are the kind of instances where you would have to hold your ground, still be empathetic as an HR person, and still be able to help the family, help the individual, and also obviously stand ground in terms of being a representative of the organization. It's not an easy task. So therefore, what the panelists spoke about, emotional intelligence, and really developing that, I'd urge you to develop it early on, so that you're not really coming in situations, because it is just one-off. There could be times when you are laying off people. How would you hold those conversations? Those are not easy either, isn't it? We were, when you talk about emotional intelligence, it's, these were obviously much harder conversations. In the organization that I went later, that is in Volvo, after, because in Accenture we were all working from home and we were thinking of moving into hybrid. But in Volvo, given it's a product organization, we have our labs, we have our garages in the premise. It makes sense for our people, our engineers to be in the office. So the only time that they actually were working from home is during the lockdown. And rest of the time, at least the critical skills folks were in the office, and rest of them were pretty much in and out of office. So there was a time when I had just joined in, and of course I was coming from a services background, and therefore my thinking was very different. There was one of the business leaders who said, now the lockdown is over. We should call, the government has also opened up places, so now we should call back our people. And the rest of the business leaders agreed to it, because that's what they are used to. Now, why I bring up this example is, as HR, that's where, as human resources, or as custodians of human resources, what do you need to do at that point of time? That's what your business leaders want. You are there to support your business, and also, of course, take care of your employees. So what should you do? Because that's, again, a decision that you need to take to say, should I support the business by saying, yes, we should get our people back? Or look at what's the number of people that are infected with COVID even at this point of time, and take an informed decision to say, no, I don't agree to that. Because no matter what, the HR panelists here also may agree to that, who were sitting here, no matter what you say, at times, as you grow up in your career in human resources as well, at times, the business wants the HR to be dancing to their tunes. So do you really want to dance to their tunes, or do you want to take a stance? And of course, it will not go very well with the business. Now, what that means is, as HR, you need to be very courageous to say what is the right thing to do at that point of time. Because even when people were working from home, the productivity did go up. It did not come down. So therefore, what is the urgency to bring back people? Now, those are questions that needs to be asked. What I'm only trying to refer to here is there may be situations where, as human resources or as as custodians of people, you will be put in situations where you need to take a call between what is right for the business and what is right for the people. And that is where you need to play the part well, because the business will not be able to play that part very well. Okay? Don't be afraid, it may sound preachy, but most of the times in my career, what I've seen is the HR really ducks into the pressure to say the business really wants it, and therefore, what is it that we can really do? And why I say that is because I have worked in banking, I have worked in retail, I was also part of Landmark Group sometime. I worked in telecom, I worked in services, and now in a product organization. But across, there is a lot of pressure on HR always to get aligned to business, because that works for them. What we need to always think of is, of course, we need to be aligned to the business, because now more and more HR people are becoming CEOs. So therefore, our business acumen and the decision that we take based on that should really help our business. So it's very important. No doubts about it. But we are the only ones who are also taking care of the people. Now, of course, there is a lot of shift to say that, okay, the managers are custodians of people and therefore please take care of people. And, I can't agree more to that. But still, at an organization level, it is the human resources and people who are custodians of that who really take that decision. So therefore, stand your ground if you think that's the right thing to do, because the business will come around. Yeah. There's, somebody was talking about leveraging technology and how AI really plays a part, and ma'am also spoke about it. It's interesting, and this is just a, just a story about it. We had we have a WhatsApp group in our business leaders group, where it was a picture of a helicopter and a photographer sitting on the helicopter and taking a picture of something that was happening on the ground. Okay, so somebody put the picture, and the comment was that, see, two jobs are gone. Now you don't need a helicopter, and you don't need a photographer, because you just need a drone to take whatever captures that you wanting to. And while I was thinking about it, there was another, engineering SME actually, who said, actually with their domain expert, if we are smart enough, we should be able to use their domain expertise to code the drone. Really? So, nobody loses out on their job. It's about how do you make sure that with the changing times, agility that they spoke of, with the changing times, how do you make sure that you still remain relevant for the industry and for the future? And that goes to all of you as well. If I were to ask you, what is one of your USPs, which is unique selling proposition, what is it for you? I don't know if you have an answer yet. If you don't, by the end of the course, it will be a great idea for you to figure that out. While, we did speak about it, saying, has the industry figured out what they really want? The answer may not be yes. But it may be a good idea to say, what is it that I really like? And what I really enjoyed hearing is, for the first few years, just go with the flow, which is great. Really go with the flow. But while you go with the flow, make sure that you're not just going with the flow forever, but figuring out what you want to do eventually. Why I say that is, we have something called as Glint survey, pulse survey, which talks about what our employees are telling us. We had it in Accenture, we had it here in Volvo as well. It talks about what our employees are telling us, what's the feedback that they are giving us, and so on and so forth. It's very interesting. Our pulse survey result is about, it's pretty good. Okay, let me not call it out. It's pretty good, actually. But when I looked at, I was trying to do some dissection to say, okay, what's the results really looking like? What was interesting was, where do you think the pulse results would have been the best in terms of tenure? 0 to 1, 2 to 4, or 2 to 5, and 5 to 5 and above. Where do you think the pulse results would have been the best? The scores would have been the best? Any guesses there? 5 and above. Any other? 0 to 1. You're spot on there, actually. It is 0 to 1. So 0 to 1 is where, and if I stretch, 0 to 1 was where everything was a green and few deep greens. Okay? 1 to 2 is where I had light greens and a few other greens, but no orange, no red. Now, 2 to 5 window is where I have maximum red. In fact, most of it was all red. And after 5, why I brought this point up is, after 5, it was pretty much green. What it means is, the first year, oh, that's my analysis, I could be wrong there, but because I'm yet to hold these conversations with the business leaders and others, but my analysis was, and why therefore the overall result was very good, was because 1/3, or actually about half the population, a little lesser than half the population, was in 0 to 2 years, because we grew around that time. And therefore, it impacted our overall result to be really fantastic, right? But if you look at 2 to 5 years, that's where the problem is. They understand the culture. They know what they have gotten into. They have their issues saying, this is not working, that's not working, this is not how it should be. N number of feedback. The 0 to 2 years are still figuring out, 0 to 1 year figuring out, or they're still in the charm that, aha, this is where we gotten, where we really wanted to. 1 to 2 is still trying to see, can we push this boundary, can we push that boundary? 2 to 5 has really tried, tested, now really sulking. And what happens after 5 years? Why is it still light green and all of that? Like, somebody called out. Yeah, they've made peace with it. Yes, they've adopted it, they've made peace with it. And that's where the problem is. So why I brought it up and why I gave up all of this is, don't get too comfortable as well with the status quo, because then you will never grow. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it was Nicola who's brought up a wellness. And one of the things which was very interesting is, I don't know if it's more regional thing, but wellness, before pandemic, we never spoke much about wellness. In larger organizations, where we spoke about physical well-being, mental well-being, financial well-being, even emotional well-being to some extent, but it was all in the air, some sessions and things like that, and we would be done with. What's interesting is, and why I bring this up is because in India, for some reason, and few of us are now getting into that space where we're really trying to take care of our health and therefore counting steps and all those kind of thing. But that's something that we've adopted, or we are adopting pretty late as compared to the rest of the global counterparts. And why I say that is, it's very funny actually. We had a conference of sorts where we had people from across the globe in Volvo sit through we were trying to firefight something, but before we gotten into that firefighting mode, we thought it'll be a good idea for us to at least understand each other, because we are all, somebody is in France, somebody is in Sweden, somebody is in US, so on and so forth. So when we were having that interaction, the first slide that people were asked to bring was, just talk about yourself, and there's no format or anything, just talk about yourself so that everybody gets to know, okay? And it was interesting. People outside of India were talking about, skiing and, all kinds of physical activities that they are interested in. They were talking about, there's a 62-year-old lady, because their retirement age is different to what we have in India. She was talking about how she loves skiing in Sweden. So therefore, she keeps going to Norway to make sure that she is able to ski. How the others were talking about, running marathons and this and that and all of that. And come India, it was very, and I'm not generalizing at all, but at least in that group, what I saw is, one said, I love visiting temples. The other one said, the time that I spend with my child is the time that I really value. And there they were talking about skiing and all of that. And here they were talking about the time that they spent with the child. So it got me to think, saying, is it that in Bangalore, after our going to office, coming back to office, all of that, just spending time with the child itself is like a big deal. So that itself has become like the time to celebrate, where the others are really taking care of themselves by. It's not about the physical activity alone. When you do something which you're passionate about, it actually helps your mental well-being as well. So, as young students who are going to come out, make sure that you are, keeping some time for your passion. Figure out what that passion is, or try to do something that will allow you to, do things differently. There are many others, but I thought these are certain aspects that I thought was important, but more importantly, transparency and fairness. Keep that in mind, because I think even for the next panel discussion, that may be something that is of importance. And when I say fairness, I don't mean providing everybody the same output. What I mean by that is, for example, if I were to say somebody has hurt an elbow, so you put a band-aid in the elbow. Somebody is hurt head, you still put the band-aid at the elbow. Would it help? What that means is, you need to also be able to make sure that you are providing to the employees what helps them be successful. And that may not be a one-size-fits-all at all. So fairness, when I mean, or as an HR, what I mean by fairness is, what does it take for you to identify what's really required for our people, keeping in mind that their personalized requirements are very different. Now, that's not an answer that we've all figured out, but if you as bright minds can figure that out, I think I'll pause my 2 bits on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing the key takeaways from today's session. I know it's a lunch time, but before we go ahead with the event, I request Dr. H.R. Venkatesha, Dr. Madhumita Chatterjee, and Mr. Vijay Das to come onto the stage for the felicitation session. Also, Dr. Vijay Bhaskara, ma'am. Moving on, I would like Dr. H.R. Venkatesha to honor our today's chief guest, Dr. Govind Singh Negi, Mr. Govind Singh Negi, with a memento and a sapling as a part of ABBS culture. Next, I would like to call Miss Nimisha Chatterjee. Next, I would like to call Mr. Mohammed Mohsin. Sir. Thank you, Dr. Venkatesha, sir. Now I request Dr. Madhumita Chatterjee to honor Mr. Arun Chatterjee. Next, I would like to call Miss Annapurna. Next, I would like to call Mr. Nigel John. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Mr. Vijay Das to honor Mr. Vinay Trivedi. Thank you, sir. Next, I request Dr. Vijay Bhaskara, ma'am, to honor Mr. Anand Arora. Next, I would like to call Miss Radhika. Go. Thank you, ma'am. You may take the front seat.
As we're approaching towards the end of the event, I request Ms. Nimisha Chatterjee to give the valedictory speech on today's session. Nimisha Chatterjee has been passionate about leadership and human connection, as well as psychology and human behavior. She's a versatile HR leader with more than 14 years of rich experience in different roles of HR in various organizations. She has majorly worked in industries like IT retail. Currently, she's working in HR business partner with Clean Harbor India, which is CGC and Clean Harbor, NYSE listed leading multinational environmental service organization. As an HR professional, she loves to connect with people to create a learning organization and drive a culture of collaboration through employee experience movements in various HR segments. HR is a passion. Apart from professional life, she has also served as president of Karnataka chapter of HR Success Talk, a community where she connects with HR student, institute and HR professionals in Karnataka to learn and share her HR updates. Her mantra is, "My power starts with belief in myself." Her point of view is, at the end of the day, it's the connection that keeps us alive. And just in case you're forgotten, you matter, you are loved, you're worthy, and you're magical. Over to you, ma'am.
First of all, thank you. So it's been a great event and a wonderful event. And I would like to thank on behalf of HR Success Talk to the complete team of ABBS and definitely our dignitaries from the college for gracing the occasion and the panelist and moderator who brought out the great insights with their gracious experience and the insights what we need to address our audience, the students, what they wanted, because we keep hearing about leadership, hybrid. So they brought out the experience and that's really great and it's been a great, insightful event. Apart from that, I would also love to extend my thank you note to the team behind organizing the event, that is ABBS, the kind of support, the kind of welcome, the warmness. I think that is the common word which I think all the speakers, everyone have spoken about it. So kudos to you all for the great support and thank you, Bijoy and the team, for taking care of everything and anything. Um, with this, having the collaboration, definitely the HR success talk, it is not one man person or one person army. It goes behind a great team. And though you would see a few names which I would be taking, but I'm doing injustice to others. But those who are watching it live, please, I would like to extend my thank you to the complete HR Success Talk team, definitely starting with Govind, Deepthi, Ranjit, Arvind Warrior, Mohsin. We have few other teams also, Vatsalya, Jovita, those who are not here, but Krishna Negi. And there are many more which I couldn't take because it's a long team. So thank you all. We really enjoy the event and we look forward to having many more collaborations with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, on behalf of ABBS, I would like to call Dekshita from MBA department to propose vote of thanks.
Once a great man whispered, feeling thankfulness and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. Today, I take the opportunity to put all my gratitude into words for each one's contribution and time to make HR success a great success. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our chairman, Dr. B. Vijaypal Reddy, Managing Director, Ms. Poonima Reddy, and Executive Director, Mr. Ajitesh Basani, who are the pillar and backbone of Acharya Bangalore B School. Thank you, sir and ma'am, for all your support. It gives me immense pleasure to thank our Director of MBA Department, Dr. H.R. Venkatesha, and PGDM Director, Mr. Dr. Madhumita Chatterjee, for gracing the HR Success Talk with your valuable thoughts. I thank all the faculties of MBA Department and PGDM Department for being present. I feel honored and privileged to express my gratitude to the Head of Placement Cell, Mr. Bijay Das, for organizing such an informative event with many key takeaways from the session as students. We have been fortunate to be assisted by you, sir. This event would not have been successful without the support and collaboration of HR Success Talk. For this, I take the privilege to thank on behalf of ABBS for this event. It gives me immense pleasure to thank the founder of HR Success Talk, Mr. Govind Singh Negi, the president of HR Success Talk, Karnataka chapter, Mr. Nimicha Chatterjee, and the collaboration of Community Collaboration, Mr. Muhammad Mausin. I would also like to extend my hearty wishes to the other HR Success Talk volunteers. I take this occurrence to thank such vibrant profile panelists, Assistant Vice President, HR in Landmark Group, Mr. Anand Arora, Head of HR and Administration in India, South Asia, and Dubai, and also the Head of Global Talent Acquisition, Ms. A. Annapurna. Vice President, HR Business Partnering in Society General Global Solutions Center, Ms. Nicola. Global Head HR, Admin and Travel in Terrape, Mr. Vinay Trivedi. And Head of Talent Acquisition in Witzman and Brown LLP, Ms. Nikhil John, for representing their valuable views on leadership in the hybrid of remote or working environment. I must thank a proficient sense of gracefulness to all our panelists for sharing with us some of the finest management practices. All the participants of this HR Success Talk are all inspired by your highly sparkling words. A big and sincere thanks to the manager, HRBP at Quest Corporation, Mr. Arun Chatterjee, who has been the moderator for this panel discussion so flawlessly. This panel discussion would not have been enlightening without you, sir. I would also like to thank today's annotator, Director HR Group, Truck Technology, Asia, Ms. Radhika Nair. I can't thank the organizing committee enough because without your support, this event would not have been successful the way it did. My generous gratitude to the technical team, Mr. Vinay and his team for your constant support. Special thanks to Mr. Dharmender and his team for having well-structured logistics for this event. My extended gratitude to all the attenders. Last but not the least, I thank all the students for being such active participants throughout this session. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dikshita. Before we all break for a lunch, I request all the dignitaries to come front and we will have a group picture. And while we'll be moving for the networking lunch, there will be a feedback session outside the auditorium. Thank you all and have a great day.